Getting nasty on a Tuesday. It's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN with Jamie Rivers and Andrew Marsh. I'm Anthony Stalter. 202 your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Got a good show for you planned today. Kind of a slower local day, Jamie, but we will get into some of the Blues as they host the Red Wings, the hated Red Wings tonight.
Are they still hated?
I can't.
I don't know. I know in the 90s they were hated for sure, early 2000s, but once they changed conferences and left the division and all that stuff, are they still hated?
I think they're like a vintage hated for Blues fans. Like,
So
you'll just always hate them.
So if you have a 40-year-old Blues fan, they probably hate him.
Yeah.
If you have a 20-year-old Blues fan, they probably don't know the difference.
If you're a 20-year-old Blues fan, you probably hate them because you know you're supposed to hate them, but you actually hate the Avalanche more.
Yeah. Marshy, how is
Or the Predators
for your
more?
age bracket? Where do the Red Wings fall?
I think right now it's like, who cares? But growing up, I definitely did not like the Red Wings.
Sure.
And at that time, I could care less about the Blackhawks because the Blackhawks were irrelevant, in my opinion, in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
It wasn't until the 2010s and, so forth when I started hating the Blackhawks, and then that disdain for the Red Wings sort of went away. Much like what you said, it's because they switched conferences.
Sure.
And then the Avalanche, and when the Avalanche weren't good, I didn't care about the Avalanche, and now I don't like the Avalanche.
Right.
So I think it changes. It definitely changes. Like in baseball with the Cardinals for a little bit, I didn't like the Reds at all.
Right.
I don't care about the Reds. Like, they're in the division, but like they're
it's
the
cycles.
Reds. It's cycles.
But you always hate the Cubs.
Always hate the Cubs.
Yeah.
So it's like the vintage hate. You know you're going to hate them, regardless of how good they are or bad they are.
Yes.
But if the Reds are, because there's only one team that the Cardinals have challenged in the NL Central.
Right.
It's been a crap division for 20 years plus. But the Reds have been, the Reds had their time for a little bit.
The Brewers
more lately. The Cubs in that 2016 window, couple of years there.
And in 2003 and in those years.
But it cycles through. And sure. Well, the Pirates, boy, they're trying.
Yeah, 2013.
2013, they were good. I think they had 2 years. They were.
2015, I think they were good too. They went to the wild card game.
Yeah, cute story. The Pittsburgh Pirates.
What place did they finish in last year?
4th.
Who was 5th?
Your St. Louis Cardinals. And you know that, Jamie. Why would you bring that up like that?
Because you're talking about the Pirates not being competitive.
Yeah, but come on. It's a 1 year compared to decades. It's not even close.
I just sorting some things out
here. It's like, that would be like the Jets saying, we're better than the Patriots. Okay, Jets. You're better this year. Patriots are down, but...
Or are they ever?
It's been decades.
We got to talk about that one day.
The Patriots?
Yeah.
Being down?
Where are they headed? Because Pat McAfee said something interesting the other day on TV to Robert Kraft.
What did that sleeveless what say?
Oh, I saw that.
Flat out said, thank you for coming on here. I don't envy what you're going to have to be doing here in a couple of weeks. I understand. We'll just keep it quiet. Basically, I'm paraphrasing.
That's pretty slick.
I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but Marshy basically alluding to the fact, we know you're going to have to fire Bill Belichick. We know this isn't going to be easy, But he said it right to Robert Kraft.
Kraft didn't say a thing either. He just kind of nodded his head and was like,
Crafty just sat there going huh.
Yeah, that's a pretty slick move by Pat McAfee.
He's saying what everyone's thinking.
Just back him into a corner. The Patriots
what was
are
weird
rebuilding.
is he had Belichick on 2 hours later because they were playing Foxborough.
I'll give it to him. He's got some huevos rancheros.
Well, why not?
Yeah.
Bill Belichick's not going to have him fired.
No.
But anyways, I thought it was interesting.
I think the Patriots are rebuilding. All right.
Screw the Red Wings!
There you go. Back on topic here. So it is official. Jakub Vrana was placed on waivers by the Blues. Not surprising. What I wanted to talk to you, Jamie, two-part question here. But we'll go with part one. Ultimately, why didn't it work with Vrana? And when somebody on the text line, you can always reach out, 314-399-9646 is the Air Commerce Service text line. We got some texts yesterday pushing back on some of the things you were saying about Vrana. The overall consensus from the people that were pushing back was that the Blues really didn't give him a shot.
Yeah, let's just give people the opportunity.
Yeah, for no reason.
Just no reason at all. And let's disregard the video that we're watching. Let's disregard the numbers that show how uncompetitive the individual is. Let's disregard the work ethic in practice or lack thereof. Let's also disregard teammates who don't want to play on the same line as him. Why? Because he's not competing, not winning battles, not working away from the puck. How much do we have to disregard in order to fit your narrative? That's all, because people act like Jakub Vrana was frickin' Nathan McKinnon.
Mm-hmm. Well, they saw the goals, to your point, they saw the goals a year ago.
You know what he was, Anthony?
And they can't erase it.
He was a good player on a bad team last year.
He was
a good scorer on a bad team.
And Greg Berube even said that. And you know what? Everybody was optimistic that he could repeat what he did in that small sample size last year. To start the season, he was put on a very good line. He was put on the second power play. All he had to do was go out there and play the way he can. And he didn't. Like, he just didn't. Guys, go back and watch some of the games. Like, the compete level is just not there. Go back and watch the practices. I know you can't. I mean, there's a thing called Live Barn. You actually can go back and watch certain practices that happen. But if you're not there and you don't see the habits day in and day out, and the coaching day in and day out, and then the lack of acknowledgement of the coaching, meaning the player not responding day in and day out, like, how much can you actually take? And at what point is the coaching staff inspired to say, you know what? I think he'd look good with Thomas and Buchnevich. Let's go, baby. Let's ride.
Just give him a chance.
Well, why would you?
Right. Because there's a domino effect that happens too. If you do that with Vrana, why would the next guy bust his rear end and play the way Berube wants him to? If you're
100% correct.
If you're just going to give Vrana top line minutes for not doing that,
so why not give Kapanen? You know, like, why not give all these other guys, whoever else? Why not just give guys opportunity? You have to earn it, man.
Yep.
And just because certain players, like, people always, well, look at Kyrou. Kyrou has earned it. He has. He's had 2 seasons in a row at a point a game.
Yeah.
Like, is he not playing as good as he can offensively right now? Maybe not. But he's still, like, he's earned the opportunity to play. He's a difference maker out there. Like, if you take Jakub Vrana's shifts and you side by side them to Jordan Kyrou's shifts, they look nothing alike. Jordan Kyrou is not a perfect 200-foot player. He is a work in progress. But, man, when he skates and he competes, you can see it. And you've seen at least an acknowledgement of playing on the defensive side of the puck this year. There's been plenty of times where, guess what? I'm calling the games. I see it. The back check that disrupts a play. The back check that steals a puck. The back check that does something smart. Side by side with Vrana. You know, you're not getting that.
Right.
It's not there.
Well, from that standpoint, you know what Jordan Kyrou's issue is to those fans. I won't say all Blues fans, but to those Blues fans, Kyrou will never win. And you know why, right?
Oh, the narrative of him?
Okay, so there's some Blues fans that will push back on the Kyrou thing, even like you said, comparing him to Vrana. Jordan Kyrou will never win for one reason.
Well, the contract.
Correct.
Oh, yeah, the $8 million.
Correct.
Even though he's had a point a game for 2 straight years.
If he's not a Hall of Famer, shouldn't be making $8 million.
Well, if he was a Hall of Famer, he'd be making $14 million.
But this is...
if we're going to do it, let's look real good. Let's look at cap friendly. Go find the Hall of Famers or future Hall of Famers around the league. Go see what they're making.
Right. But this
goes back to my Colton Parayko argument last year.
Sure, but that's what some fans say.
6.5 looks pretty damn good now, don't it?
It certainly does. But we're not going to talk about that because he's playing well.
Yeah, well, it's no fun to do that.
Correct. Let's circle back when he's not playing well. You get a little bit of a rough stretch, then we bring up the contract again. The other aspect we'll get to the Vrana news. We'll get into a little bit later because you got some moving pieces here. So I want to get into the Blues. The lineup, the new look, Buchnevich going back to center, but we'll save that for a little bit.
There's a text here that somebody has a great memory, and hats off to one of our listeners who listens this closely and remembers stuff. From the 636, this texter says, the very day he was acquired, Rivers said, I don't want to sewer the guy, but I've talked to people, and this may not work. The guy failed with Stevie Y, Doug Armstrong, and whoever else was in Washington. Some guys just don't have it for whatever reason.
There you go. Great text. Appreciate you. Not a fit, ultimately.
No.
Moving on. But again, we'll talk about Buchnevich going back to center and some of the line adjustments that may or may not occur here as Jakub Vrana is placed on waivers. It's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. 2:12, your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. In the wake of this Shohei Ohtani contract and how things break down, there is something that Major League Baseball absolutely needs and has needed it for a long time. I think it's even more so now. That's next on 101 ESPN.
A lot of people are remodeling these days, and the biggest ones to tackle are the kitchen or the bathroom. So don't tackle that alone. Visit my friends over at E&B Granite. They're located down at 6135 Manchester Avenue, and they're going to help you out. They are the best in the business when it comes to kitchens and bathrooms. They know exactly what is trendy. They know exactly what's going to work, and they have so many unbelievable options for you to choose from. The options for countertops vary from granite to quartz to marble, even soapstone, and they have the slabs right there on the premises where you can walk over, take a look, see what patterns you like, then discuss, if it's a kitchen, you can discuss the cabinets, you can discuss backsplash, all of these things, and they'll help you design it and certainly help you execute it. The technicians are unbelievable at what they do. So please get down there, tell them Jamie Rivers sent you, or call ahead and make an appointment. That number is 314-645-9300. That's 314-645-9300, or visit enbgranite.com.
This is a dream contract for the Dodgers, an absolute dream contract. At $700 on paper, Ohtani will get $700 million when it's all said and done. But the present day value of the contract is a fraction of that. And so they can go out and spend more money on players, bring in even more of a championship caliber team around Ohtani than they already have. And, it seems like everyone here is happy.
That's MLB insider from ESPN, Jeff Passan. Yeah, everybody's happy for the Dodgers, man. I don't know how to have this conversation without sounding like I'm whining, so I'll just go ahead and say,
whine.
I'm probably whining.
Go ahead, you're fine.
Baseball needs a cap and they need a floor. We'll never see it. We'll never see it because players are making too much money. The top-end guys are making a buttload of money, as evidence of the Shohei Ohtani $700 million deal. Owners are making a buttload of money, and they want to be profitable. So that's why we won't see the floor. If you can spend and still make, if you don't have to spend and still make a bunch of money, well, owners they don't want that floor in place. Mm-hmm. And again, the players' union they don't want the cap, because when a player can make $700 million, why would you want a cap? But from a fan standpoint, Jamie, how much fun is this upcoming baseball season going to be for non-Dodgers fans, especially if they sign Yamamoto, and they can with the way Ohtani structured this deal? Mm. How much fun is it going to be with the Dodgers, the Phillies, the Braves? If you're outside of those markets, Yankees.
It's tough. It's almost uninspiring at times.
Totally.
It goes back to...
It's a great word.
It is, because you look at a team like let's just take the Cincinnati Reds. We're very familiar with that roster. They've got a couple of young, up-and-coming stars. The Pirates, what's his name? O'Neal Cruz. Mm-hmm. He was injured last year, but he's like, if you're a fan of either of those teams where you got some young, up-and-coming, like hard-working players, there's no chance.
Right.
There's no chance. Like, you might beat them in the regular season. That's fine. Celebrate that. Mm-hmm. But when it comes time for playoffs, like, you're not beating them.
162 games.
Yeah.
It's a marathon. You're going to lose.
It becomes uninspiring for mid-market to low-market teams.
Yeah. Which
brings us back to, let's just talk about the Cardinals for a second. The Cardinals are a mid-market team that generate real good revenue. Mm-hmm. They do. They outkick their coverage based on the fact that there's tremendous fans that love the Cardinals, not just in the Midwest, all over the place. I found out over the years here in the last 2-3 years, there are Cardinals fans literally everywhere. And so they benefit from that, but they're truly a mid-market team. So when you ask them to go sign a $200 or a $300 million contract, like, they feel it. Like, they know, like, he may have the money, DeWitt may have the money, but he's still going to feel it from a standpoint of, you're not generating the same as the Dodgers or the Yankees or some of these other clubs. Mm-hmm. So it just becomes like, hey, let's hope we get in and we can get lucky. Mm-hmm. And I'm not even piggybacking yesterday's conversation. It's true. For any of these teams, even the Diamondbacks last year, that was a, hey, let's hope we can keep going. The beginning of the season, who the hell are these guys? Then you're like, hey, maybe they can keep going. Hey, let's hope we can do it halfway through. Let's hope they get in the playoffs. Like, oh, well, you never know, right? That ain't repeating itself. Remember me saying that. That's not repeating itself. So, it's not sustainable to hope.
Right.
Which is difficult then for a lot of the fan bases around Major League Baseball, because you look at your roster and go, oh, wow, look at all these teams here with all the money and the superstars they've got, and we've got like 2 guys that we can hope over here.
Right.
I believe in baseball gods, Anthony. I think that the baseball gods will not shine their light on the Dodgers, at least this season, because Shohei Ohtani can't pitch this year. So,
right.
At least this year, I think it's a little bit better than what we might see in the future, especially when he does get back on the mound. Mm-hmm. But, there's a lot of other really good baseball teams. Let's not forget that the Atlanta Braves still exist. The Phillies have been in the NLCS 2 years in a row. They're still a good ball club. So there are other teams around the league that I do think can still compete with the Dodgers. It's not like the Dodgers blew everybody away. And Ohtani's a great player, but he has not played in the postseason. We don't know how he'll fare in the postseason. I'm sure he'll do great, though, because he's Shohei Ohtani. Mm-hmm. But I think there's a lot of moving factors, and there's a lot of fan bases out there that should be excited about what their ball club has in store for them this upcoming summer.
A lot, though. What's a lot? And is it even a quarter?
Is it a quarter?
Of the league?
I'd say it's probably
You got 30 teams in Major League Baseball. That's 30 different, I wouldn't say 30 different markets because obviously you got New York with 2 teams and Chicago with 2 teams, but 30 fan bases in Major League Baseball.
I think I can name 6.
You think 6?
Maybe.
So Dodgers, Braves, Phillies.
Other than Dodgers.
No, I'm saying, is it even a quarter of the league that you could honestly say matches up against the Dodgers?
No. I think there's maybe 6 teams.
Right.
Maybe 6 teams. The Astros, the Rangers, the Braves, Phillies.
And that's probably it, right?
So all the other teams that have...
Oh, maybe not 6.
Right.
How high is the Braves payroll?
It's got to be up there.
Is it? I'm wondering because they tried to get ahead of it, lock up guys ahead of time.
They did it smart.
So I'm not saying they didn't spend money. They did. But they probably didn't spend market value of some of these guys in a year or 2. Mm-hmm. Market value might be way higher than what they're paying right now.
Mm-hmm. So 2024, they're 4th.
Okay. I mean, it's up there.
It's a projection, but they're 4th. They're 186 mil.
I think there's a few other teams that you could say are excited about what they have, but they're not where the Braves are. They're not where the Phillies are. Like the Blue Jays, they have a solid ball club.
Yeah.
If they can put things together, the Yankees, Yankee fans should be excited about Juan Soto, but there are still holes on those teams.
Sure.
So I think there's different tiers to this conversation.
Yeah, the Orioles. Okay,
Orioles,
so they won 101 games. I'm not saying that you can't be competitive, but when you look at the overwhelming majority of the league not being in the same conversation as those other teams, and I'll include the Cardinals on that. But the Cardinals aren't in the same boat.
Those teams never were, though.
No, they never were. And
they never will be.
So I've heard this narrative since Ohtani signed about how baseball's in great shape. Don't tell me that baseball's not in great shape. The top-end players are in great shape. The owners are in great shape.
Well, it is. Baseball is in great shape, Anthony.
Profitability-wise, is it in great shape from a fan standpoint?
I would agree. You're right. There's 2 different things, but do the owners care?
Absolutely not.
Because even the lower market, the teams that don't spend get rewarded by not spending.
Absolutely.
Because the luxury tax money goes right to them.
Yes. And we had the conversation yesterday about the Padres. You kept bringing up the Padres. And you and I, Jamie, I think we're on the same page on this. They tried to shortcut the system. They tried to say, all right, as long as if we spend, we make the big trades, we deplete the farm system, we get the top-end players, we can swim in this pool. And it backfired on them. I was glad to see it. I hope it won't, but I hope it backfires on the Dodgers. I think there's an art to building a winning roster. Now, we can talk about, and we will, the NFL and the parity. There's a lot of parity. Some would say it's bad football. Okay. But they're playing with different rules. You cannot do in the NFL what you can do in baseball if you're in one of those top markets. You have to draft well. You have to make good decisions. And if you don't, 5-year window, you probably stink unless you can overcome it with skilled drafting. To me, that is more interesting to watch, inspiring, to use Jamie's word, to flip it, inspiring to watch than going out, knowing you're in a big market and saying, we'll just bring in the top talent. And then the Dodgers circumvented everything with this contract. Come on.
Didn't circumvent it, Anthony. It's called being creative.
Maybe that is smart.
So it's no different than...
But I'd rather watch the smart be on the field.
Okay, so let's say we go to a cap world.
After you build.
Let's say we go to a cap world.
And a floor.
And a floor. It's fine. Whatever you want. They're still going to circumvent it. Have you not watched the NHL since the salary cap has been involved? Do you know how many times they've had to change rules and tweak things because the GMs and some of the owners circumvent the rules?
But they're changing, right?
It's ever changing, but it's all it does is create more loopholes, more things. Like,
I'm not saying it's a perfect system.
It's not.
And again,
it's not.
We're not going to see.
I think there should just be a luxury tax at a certain threshold and have a floor. I say that for the players. So the players can continue to make as much money if a guy's worth it. Like, instead of a player being capped out on a team because the team just got no more cap space. Just can't do it, man. So the player has to suffer because the team has no cap space. Doesn't mean they don't have money. They don't have cap space.
Right.
So why don't we make it, because baseball will never agree to a cap world anyways, why don't we make it a luxury tax, high end, and a floor that's fair? So that now those teams on the bottom have to at least compete financially somewhat to get to the floor. And then players who are exceptional talents don't have to be hindered by a salary cap.
Well, what is I think there might be kind of a soft floor right now, and it'll be...
No, make it a hard floor. Like, you have to be at this number or you can't play next year.
Yeah.
It would be best if it is a hard floor.
I don't know. Jamie, I go back to your word. I think you're right. It does help sometimes. Uninspiring. This is uninspiring to look at what's going on in baseball.
It reminds me of like the mid 2010 NBA. Like, yeah, it was exciting because because LeBron was going up against the Warriors, but we saw the same teams over and over and over again. I would almost argue, I know we kind of joked around yesterday about the in-season tournament being whatever it is, right? But I would argue that now the NBA is more exciting, at least in the playoffs, because of the parity that you see. Sure. I know nationally hockey doesn't get recognized as much as these other sports, but hockey has a ton of parity. Any team can win on any given night, and at the end of the day, you will have the better teams in the league, but then you have a team like the Florida Panthers who squeak their way in, make it to the Stanley Cup. Right now, there's some balance, right? In baseball, and even in football, you said the parity, but in baseball, it seems like it's the same 4 teams every year.
Well, and that's the thing, too, because somebody will push back and say, well, there's been a different winner X amount of years.
Right,
sure.
This year was different.
But what teams are constantly making the playoffs?
Exactly.
So they'll kind of... They'll move the goalpost a little bit on you if you bring that up. They'll say, well, look, there's a different winner every year. Yeah, but if you go back and kind of look at the playoff teams, you're getting a lot of those same teams in.
Yes.
In a short series, the nature of baseball will be if one team gets hot, you could have a different winner. I don't think that proves anything, though. I'll tell you what, though. One thing happened last night that proved Marshy's MVP candidate for the NFL. We'll tell you what that is next on 101 ESPN.
Cheap, fun.
It's back. Dirt Cheap is hosting the Bourbon Raffle again this year, but you better hurry up because it ends in 2 days. December 14th is the last day. All you have to do is visit your local Dirt Cheap and enter for your chance to win an opportunity to purchase some of the most sought-after, high-quality bourbons around. And when I say purchase, it's you purchase it at the retail price, not that buffed-up, crazy price that some people are charging. No, Dirt Cheap doesn't do that to you. It's one entry per day per customer. You got to see the store for details. And Dirt Cheap has a full selection of great bourbons. Let me tell you, they've got bourbons that are single barrel, high rye, small batch, all at Dirt Cheap prices. And if you want even more savings, all you have to do is download the Dirt Cheap app. Get on there. They've got specials. They've got events. They've got clubs that you can be a part of. They also have online ordering. You can place your order and either have it brought out to you through some of the drive-through locations or walk in and grab that thing yourself. When you're in there, tell them that Jamie Rivers sent you in. That's our friends over at Dirt Cheap. Remember, folks, have fun, but be careful out there.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Blues are back in action tonight, taking on the Detroit Red Wings. Pregame starts at 5:30. Puck drop is at 6:30. You can catch all the action right here on 101 ESPN. Monday Night Football last night. The New York Football Giants defeated the Green Bay Packers 24-22 on a last-second field goal, and the Tennessee Titans won 28-27 over the Miami Dolphins. We're going to dive into that game coming up next right here in the Fast Lane. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Londoff. Find new roads and shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
Question 3, Marsh. According to scientists, what is the most common name for a group of dolphins?
I don't know, smoke and mirrors.
2 yards here to keep the game alive here. Tua in traffic. He'll be brought down in Tennessee. He's going to secure an incredible, improbable comeback victory and win for the road on the first time this year.
So Marsh was way ahead of it in yesterday's Gauntlet.
He's a voyeur? No, that's not it.
Clairvoyant.
That's it.
Clairvoyant would be.
Both could be useful.
Yeah.
Of course.
Sure. Yeah, nice job, Marsh. You're absolutely right.
Clarifying, Marshy.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. Smoke and mirrors on the Dolphins who lose to the Titans last night. Marsh, I thought you were accurate then, but you brought up last week. Mm-hmm. We were talking about the MVP. Should Dak be the MVP? And we had the conversation about Dak and Purdy. And you said, what about Tyreek Hill? And I said, I got no problem with Tyreek Hill being mentioned in the MVP discussion. And then a day later, after I thought about it more, no, Marsh is right. Tyreek Hill's the MVP. And what I saw last night will not alter my opinion. Now, if he misses several weeks because of the injury that he suffered in the first half last night, it's different because maybe he doesn't have the overall numbers when it's all said and done. Because you got to be healthy too. But Tyreek Hill completely changes that offense. We knew it, but then we knew it before last night. But now we really saw it.
Oh, yeah.
Tua Tagovailoa looked like a completely different quarterback without Tyreek Hill. Mike McDaniel looked like a slightly different play caller without Tyreek Hill. Excuse me. Tyreek Hill suffered the injury in the first half last night. Played a little bit toward the second half, but then when they needed just a field goal to win it, he was on the sidelines again. Now maybe he went in for a couple of plays, but Tyreek Hill, absent in that offense. Completely different offense.
Yeah, no kidding.
I mean, from a scheme standpoint, from a way you have to defend it standpoint.
Is Tyreek the best receiver in the game?
Yes.
Like, is he though? Like, I know his numbers, I understand, but is he the best receiver?
He's the best game changer.
Okay.
Is he like the best, the most technically sound wide receiver, like the complete package? I don't know. I think you make a case for Marsh's guy Justin Jefferson or Devontae Adams. Mm-hmm. You can make those, but in terms of like keeping up a defensive coordinator, up all night, hasn't slept in weeks, thinking about who he has to cover, it's Tyreek Hill.
So that's what I was going to say. Treat me like a kindergartner here, and explain to me why. Because if I look at Justin Jefferson, Devontae Adams, and I'm sure there's probably 2 or 3 other guys you could throw in the mix of like game breakers, difference makers. Why does Tyreek Hill keep defensive coordinators awake?
You have to use, if you're smart, three of your 11 guys, three of your 11 defenders to try to take Tyreek Hill out of a game. So that changes everything. So now you got one-on-one everywhere else.
Yeah.
You got one-on-one with Jalen Waddle. You got one-on-one with Braxton Berrios in the slot. And some of these you're like, okay, whatever. But then you have to have some of your linebackers or your safeties matched up with Raheem Mostert or Devon Achane in the back, and Achane's a handful. He's got a lot of speed too. It creates these one-on-one matchups everywhere else. And then because of his speed and his agility, Tyreek Hill still gets open. And you have Tua, who's very accurate. So he can hit Tyreek Hill, in a window, a quick window, and Tyreek Hill can do the rest. But if you really want to slow him down, you have to bracket him. You have to have a corner on him. You have to have probably a linebacker underneath and a safety over top. So think about 3 defenders out of your 8. You're layering.
Bracketing is layering, basically.
Yes.
Okay.
There's probably a similarity with
the Blues defensive zone.
Or not?
The Blues defensive zone is supposed to be that 3 layers before you can get to the net.
Yeah.
I knew what you're saying.
Thank you.
I got you, man.
I hacked up that word.
3.5 years. I got you.
Thank you. Yeah, you got me. Corner on him. Linebacker on him. Hip hop anonymous. Damn you. Always give him the easy ones. Safety over the top. Or you could take your chances like Brandon Staley did, like Ron Rivera did.
That worked. And
you give up 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. And he'd just bang his head off the goalpost, off the end zone post there, constantly. And you could lose by 40. He's a complete difference maker. So without him,
is he good? Is he got good hands?
Yes, absolutely.
Because he's got speed. He's got all this other stuff. And I just wonder what his reception percentage is.
He's not the biggest guy.
No, I'm just saying just catchable balls. Like how many? Because everybody has that, right? You have that percent. I don't know what the stat is. I'm sure you do, Anthony, of catchable balls that are missed.
Yeah, like drop rate and all that stuff. I don't know what his number is, but I'm sure it's good because he catches the ball a lot in and around the line of scrimmage and then in that intermediate game.
What's his yak? He's got to have good yak.
Oh, tremendous. Yeah. I don't know. Again, I don't know what the actual number is.
That's yards after catch.
For sure.
Nice job there.
Thank you.
Yeah. You got it, Jamie.
My guy.
Well, there's some producers that don't know, certain abbreviations.
Some producers don't know. Guys
like
playing sports.
WPG, for instance.
Who doesn't know that?
Well, I'm not going to say any names. But it doesn't stand for wins per game.
You kind of just brought it up. Rockio.
No. This is Sir Piddles for sure.
Oh, Action Jackson. Yeah, that's true. Because Rockio takes a long. Like Rock wants to know.
If Rock didn't know that, I think he'd cry.
Yeah. By the way, Tyreek Hill.
It's a compliment, actually.
He is. Yeah. Rock is very smart.
I didn't say that.
He is. He's a smart guy.
I didn't say that.
Jamie, you had brought up how good Tyreek Hill is. He ran the wrong route and had the wrong depth on the one throw that Tua made in Washington a couple weeks ago, and everybody blamed Tua for a bad pass, and he ran the wrong route, adjusted midstream, and then caught it anyways. That's how good he is. He's incredible.
Yeah. I don't doubt it. I'm not sitting here questioning it. Trust me. When I'm asking these questions, it's not because I'm doubting it.
Oh, sure.
It's just because now when I watch the games, I like to know what I'm watching.
Yeah. Watch how they try to defend him.
Overall, though, the Dolphins, not who we thought they were.
Not without Tyreek. With Tyreek, they are. Without him, forget it. So if he misses, I don't know what the update is. So he's day-to-day right now. I'm looking at it right now. He's day-to-day, according to Mike McDaniel, with the ankle injury. If he's absent or less than, forget it. Dolphins aren't making a run.
That's a tough loss. And, if you look at their game last night, though, I feel like they did enough on offense to win that game. Their defense, though, at the end of the day, was the one that let them down.
Oh, I thought their offense stunk.
Well, they still put up 20-plus points.
Yeah, but if you didn't watch, you didn't watch. But the offense stalled out. They had a defensive touchdown. That was the first touchdown. Mm-hmm. Then they recovered 2 fumbles.
Yeah,
one was a muff punt.
Yes.
And then one was a Will Levis fumble.
Yeah, the pitch to Henry.
Yeah. Now, the last drive was on their defense, but I thought it was mostly their offense. They're stalling out. Tua slipped on the way. It was like a third down. They settled for a bunch of field goals. He slipped. Then on the fourth down play,
you got to get that ball out.
You almost sensed it though.
Oh yeah.
You sensed that he was not going to make that throw. He starts looking at the rush. And then all of a sudden he's sacked. I thought Tua looked like a different beast there last night. Not great for the Dolphins. Bad luck for them. They lose to the Titans. All right, it's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. The Vrana situation with him being placed on waivers, we talked about this at the start of the show. There's also some changes that are now made, including Buchnevich going to center. What does Jamie think about that? He'll tell us next on 101 ESPN.
Elevate your performance at Pure Performance, your one-stop shop for all aftermarket modifications. They are absolutely known for their top quality work and outstanding customer service. They've got a beautiful facility located in St. Peter's, right off of Highway 70, 25,000 square foot warehouse. You walk in, ask for Shelby, tell Shelby that Jamie Rivers sent you in, and then go walking around. Go check it out. You're going to see so many amazing things, from sunshades, soft tops, trail doors, off-road gear. You've got lift kits, leveling kits, oversized tires. They have absolutely everything, including performance stuff for under the hood, not just outside of the vehicle, but inside of the vehicle as well. And they're also a full-service shop, so anything that you need while you're there, they've got you covered. Their technicians are absolutely incredible. I have seen so many vehicles when I roll up there to say hi to them or get something done to my truck that are absolutely outstanding. You will not be disappointed. I promise you, you will love Pure Performance. If you can't get there to visit them, you can at least get there online. Visit them at pureperformance.com. That's pure, P-U-R, performance.com.
Jakub Vrana was placed on waivers today by the Blues, and now the Blues, ahead of their game against the Red Wings, are going to make some adjustments to the lineup with Jamie Rivers and Andrew Marsham. Anthony Stalter's Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. What do you think about the move of Buch going back to center? We saw this a little bit last year, Jamie.
Yeah, so, look, time will tell. Craig Berube, obviously, and his coaching staff have put lots of thought into this, and I think I understand the thought process. Pavel Buchnevich is a really good 200-foot player, and he's so responsible defensively. He's very smart with the puck, and usually that means he can distribute to the left or to the right side coming up the ice. Like, the center iceman can help generate offense from the middle, and Pavel Buchnevich can do that. Where it gets a little not interesting for me, maybe interesting, that's probably the word. Where it gets interesting for me is you have not one true centerman on that line, and then you go to the third line and you have three true centermen on one line. So I don't know what to think. We haven't seen it yet, so it's completely unfair to pass judgment. It's completely unfair to evaluate any of it. Talk to me a game or two from now once we've had a chance to see exactly what it looks like.
But what do you think? What do you think is the idea behind it?
Well, the idea behind it is to create more offense. I think that the Thomas, Neighbors, and Buchnevich line has been spearheading the offense here recently, and not much else coming from other areas. I think what this does is, with Pavel Buchnevich in the middle as a puck distributor, it helps with two guys who can really skate straight lines. Kapanen and Saad can both get up and down the wings at a really good pace. And Buch is kind of a guy that can play all the areas of the ice. He moves the puck well. So that could potentially be another offensive line for the Blues, generating off the rush even. Where we go third line to me seems like a chip it in and go get it and work the hell out of the other team down low. You got Schenn, you got Hayes, you got Sundqvist. Those are all big guys that possess the puck very well. Schenn and Sundqvist are very physical guys. Hayes, not so physical, but he's been getting to the front of the net an awful lot lately. So that seems like a third line, grinding line that could potentially play against the other team's top line. So when you're at home and you have last change, maybe that's the line that's over the boards every time to make life difficult for them. All three guys pretty responsible defensively. Sonny and Schenn, very responsible defensively. And then the fourth line, some energy guys, man. Hey, you guys want to play? Show me. Show me. Toropchenko, you know what you're going to get with him. It's not always a Picasso out there. It's not always great offensively, but you know what you're getting. Straight up and down the wing as fast as he possibly can. He's going to run into anybody who gets in his way, and he's going to drive to the front of the net. Anything more than that's a bonus, quite honestly. But at least you know what you're getting out of him. And Sammy Blais back in the lineup, probably going to be a little hungry. Probably not thrilled about missing a couple of games in a row. And he leads the team in hits, so I can imagine tonight's going to be a little bit of a hit parade out there. Toropchenko, Blais, and then McGing, who has a chance to go out there and continue to play in the NHL. A hungry, young player. He moves up and down the ice pretty well. He got to the front of the net, had 3 scoring chances the other night in Chicago, which is great for a young guy to do that. So I see the overall thought process on it. I still, for me, I need to see what this looks like with the Buch line and the Schenn line, ultimately, how long it stays together. If there's bumps in the road, do they swap, Hayes and Schenn? Do they put Buchy back on the wing? Like, how long does it take for this to mold into something different? Or does the current look of these 4 lines, is that what it stays like for the next 3, 4, 5 games because it's working?
It's interesting with Bortuzzo being traded and now Vrana placed on waivers. You have talked about Christmas being kind of one of those, okay, you better know who you are. This, to me, those 2 moves is part of that process. We're trying to clear away some of the spots on our roster that we don't view for the second half. We don't view as necessary for the second half. So you trade away Bortuzzo, you free up some spots there and some cap space when it comes to the defense or your defense, and then the Vrana experiment, that being over with, now everybody can move on. So I think this impacts you from a roster standpoint, a clarity standpoint, and your locker room standpoint, based on some of the comments that have been made recently.
Yeah. So look, let's separate the two. Let's make sure we separate the two here. I don't want to pair in Robert Bortuzzo and Jakub Vrana.
Not from a locker room standpoint. Correct. That's a roster
100%. So that's why I want to make sure there's a hard line here, because Robert Bortuzzo is a very beloved teammate, hard worker, scrappy, gritty, did anything the team ever needed. That trade was more of a Doug Armstrong recognizing that there's a team out there that needs a defenseman and helping a guy who's been a loyal soldier for a long time go to an organization that's going to play him. Mm-hmm. And Doug felt like he owed that to Robert, and Robert appreciated it. They're on good terms. It wasn't like this crazy thing. So that's one dynamic. But at the same time, you did open up a roster spot on defense. It's not ideal to carry 8 defensemen all year long where you've got 2 guys that don't play on a nightly basis.
Yeah.
The Vrana thing's a different situation. That had come to a head. A fork in the road, whatever you want to call it. He was given an opportunity in the last 2 games to play against 2 teams that were the bottom of the league. He had opportunity to play with pretty good players. He wasn't put on the 4th line right away. He had an opportunity to play. He had an opportunity to play in the second power play. Just didn't work. Just didn't work. And it was starting to leak into other areas of the team. I don't mean other players, just other areas. So the locker room, things like that, just like, it's not working.
Yeah.
So 2 separate things that happened around the same time have given you 2 roster spots now that you can work with.
Yeah.
Is there another young player that should and has earned the call up? If Vrana clears waivers, I think it's $1.15 million off the cap. Bortuzzo's $950 off the cap. So is there a player out there that you can go acquire that you'd like to put in for that money? I don't know. Who knows, right? I have no idea.
But you got some...
It gives you a little bit of wiggle room.
Flexibility.
Gives you, some flexibility.
Jamie Rivers, Anthony Stalter's Fastline on 101 to ESPN. Pregame tonight starting at 5:30 right here on 101 to ESPN. Your home of the Blues as the Blues take on the Detroit Red Wings. No David Perron. David Perron's going to be out for a little bit.
That guy's an animal.
Yeah, he is.
I don't blame him at all.
Was it 7 game suspension?
6 game.
6 game?
It's stupid.
Too much?
It's way too much. David Perron's cross-check to that guy who, by the way, played again, finished the game, no concussion, nothing. Mm-hmm. It's a 2-gamer at most, in my opinion. Not in my book. In my book, it's a double minor.
Right. You realize you're going to have to put on at least the league-colored glasses a little bit.
Yeah. 2 games would have been fine. 6, that's excessive.
That's extreme. All right, it's Fastline on 101 to ESPN. I mentioned yesterday that Jamie, you were kind of talking. You were asking me questions about if I'm still frustrated about the Cardinals and the direction and all. And I started talking about the identity and how I would build the identity for the Cardinals, or at least what it would look like. And for me, it would be about elite run prevention. I wouldn't care necessarily about the balance. Maybe you do, though, as a Cardinals fan. Maybe you guys, Marsh and Jamie, you do. If you're rebuilding the Cardinals' identity from a roster standpoint, how would that look? Leave us a mic drop. I'm fascinated to know what you think. This is more than just, this is who I'd sign, or I'd sign this guy, or I'd spend more money. No, what would you do when it comes to the identity of the Cardinals? How would it look to you? For me, elite run prevention, top pitching, sound defense, fundamental play.
I just take all the things.
Well, I'm sacrificing offense. So a lot of people would say, no, you got to have an offense. Remember 2019, you didn't have an offense, right? Like, people would go back to that.
Yeah.
If you notice that, I didn't mention offense. I realized that if you're going to allocate a lot of funds to your pitching, you have to sacrifice in other areas. So what would you do if you're rebuilding the identity for the Cardinals? Leave us a mic drop. We'll get into that next on 101 ESPN. 3, your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Hey, we have your chance right now to score a pair of tickets to see Def Leppard and Journey with Cheap Trick on July 6th at Busch Stadium. No kidding. Tickets for Def Leppard, Journey, and Cheap Trick at Busch go on sale this Friday, December 15th. You can also find a bonus chance to register to win tickets to that Def Leppard and Journey concert at 101ESPN.com or in your 101 mobile app. Plus, right now, you can win the tickets for free. Got to answer the trivia question correctly and be the 101st texter to 314-399-9646, which is our Air Comfort Service text line. Jamie earlier was trying to say that Marsh is clairvoyant. Instead, he called him something else. What did he call Marsh? Again, if you know the answer, and you're the 101st texter.
Yeah, it might be right.
To 314-399-9646. Yeah, that's true. Not in this context, but yeah, you might be true.
Let's calm down now.
If you know what Jamie called Marsh when he was trying to say that Marsh was clairvoyant, you can win those tickets. Guys, how would you rebuild the Cardinals' identity if you were in charge of that?
Spend money.
Okay. Not really identity. Why? I mean, I guess it could be.
Hey, it's my identity.
We're just spending.
Just spend stupid money.
Yeah. I said the Cardinals, not the Phillies.
Yeah, you're
or Dodgers.
You're right.
What would that look like to you from a roster building standpoint?
I mean, you have to go back to pitching. It's the one thing. You can have offense, and you need some pop in your lineup for sure. You do, because we saw a couple of years ago how not having any pop in your lineup struck no fear into other teams and ultimately didn't win you any games in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. It just is what it is. So for me, I think the current roster, the way it's set as far as positional players, is just fine. I don't think you need to add a thing at all. But your pitching has to be locked down. I'm not just saying rotation, because your rotation was part of the problem last year. Where it ended up being a big problem was when your rotation handed it off to the bullpen, and the bullpen was equally as poor. Then it was really bad. Or maybe your rotation, your starter was good, handed it off to the next guy. He was okay. Then your closer was terrible, and you blew the game. So for me, I would have a heavy emphasis on pitching.
Pitching is obviously the number one solution here, but I think consistency in your lineup, so where players know exactly what their roles are, so then they can build confidence where they're not going up there and say they go 0 for 4 one day instead of thinking, oh man, am I going to be in the lineup tomorrow? No, I'm going to get back out there and I'm going to switch some things up and I'm going to produce. Like, I feel like that's what this team needs.
I agree with that, but I'm asking you, Marsh, you're in charge of the identity of the Cardinals moving forward. You know you can't spend like the Dodgers, the Phillies, or won't spend because you won't make any money. You're not going to be profitable as an organization, and there's no guaranteeing of winning. Like yesterday, I said, I don't care. I don't care that they spend. I really don't. I don't care that they spend big. I want them to spend whatever money they do have allocated to the roster. I want that to be smart, and I want that to mostly be on pitching and defense. So maybe from a defensive standpoint, what you're saying is you have this stagnant lineup. Your defense can improve, assuming, of course, you have good defensive players. But for me, I'm willing to sacrifice not having the best offense as long as I'm great in one area, and that great would be run prevention. You have to sacrifice at some point, because if you have, here's what I think the Cardinals are doing.
Why do you have to sacrifice? Why can't players be good at being good at defensively and offensively, like Paul Goldschmidt, Nolan Arenado?
Okay, but you picked the two top guys that are making the most money,
right? But like 2 years ago, this team had like 5 Gold Glove winners.
Yeah, you could pick Tommy Edman. Tyler O'Neill was a guy you could have picked back then. So I see what Marshy's saying. It is possible to have both, that they don't have to be all-stars or making mega money.
When I mean sacrifice, I don't mean sacrifice from a player standpoint. I mean sacrifice from a roster standpoint. So, for example, Marsh, based on what you just said, you're good with the roster the way it is.
Oh, no.
Because it's balanced.
I'm good with it.
Marsh is.
Yeah. I said I'm good with it, too.
From a positional...
You're good with this roster the way it is?
Positionally, yes.
Positionally? Yeah.
Okay, but you can't pitch.
But I just said I want pitching.
Okay.
But why do you have to sacrifice positional players?
I told you
to get pitching.
Because if you put all your eggs in, when the Cardinals, I'm not explaining this well, when the Cardinals decided to make a more concerted effort to build an offense after 2019, they lose in the NLCS to the Nationals. What happened?
Yeah, they drafted a bunch of positional players,
and they most of their moves were because of the offense, right?
It was very reactionary to what had just happened.
Yes. And what happened?
They lost all of their pitching.
Correct.
Yeah.
So you're asking me why does it have to be because you're not the Phillies, you're not the Dodgers, you're not going to be able to outspend your mistakes. You're the Cardinals. So you really have to focus in on kind of one area, or maybe the bottom of your roster isn't great. Maybe you have more balance when it comes to your pitching, but you get 2 guys instead of 5. Maybe half your lineup is good, but this is what I'm saying. I would invest heavily scouting, developing, trades. I would concentrate on loading up on pitching. And if it winds up being that my offense isn't top 10, then so be it. But you can't outspend the Dodgers. You can't outspend the Phillies. You can't outspend the Braves. You're not going to be able to do that. So what's the pivot? I should have said it that way. What's the pivot? Instead of us complaining constantly that they're not spending enough, I'm trying to move on from that conversation and say, what would you do if you're the Cardinals?
Then it is run prevention, and I think through that it comes down to fundamental baseball, which is what this team has prided themselves on for years, and they've gotten away from that. A lot of our listeners will text in and say they're not fundamental anymore, and that's why they don't have these Gold Glove winners anymore. I feel like they do have the weapons in the lineup. Last year, they had trouble getting runners in scoring position and capitalizing on that. That's something that comes down to fundamentals. And I made jokes about it. Like, when was the last time they had a sacrifice fly, right? I think it comes down to little things like that where this team needs to be. They need to focus on the fundamentals because I believe they do have the talent to win. They just have lost because of they've lost the fundamentals.
I think they don't know who they are. Take the Guardians, for example. If you looked up and down that roster, would you be impressed with what the Guardians have, say for Jose Ramirez? No. Would you love what they have? No. So how did they win? Yeah, they played in a bad division, but they made some noise early in the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
They know who they are. They pitched well, and they put the ball in play. They don't hit a lot of home runs, but the ball is constantly in play. They do not strike out a ton. They'll take their walks. The ball will be in play. It's a clear identity. If you are going to beat us, you better play good defense. Because if you don't, ball's going to find holes and we're going to beat you. That's what I'm talking about. So for you, when you say, Marsh, when you say, why can't we have a player that can do both? I'm with you in that. I'm not really talking about that aspect of it. But there's only a finite amount of resources if you're the Cardinals. If you want to make this pivot as an organization, go from what you were, which is run prevention, to we need a bunch of offense. Well, you're investing that pick in Jordan Walker. You're investing that pick in Mason Wynn. So that's why I'm saying you kind of got to me, if you're the Cardinals, you have to pick a lane. But if you disagree with that, send us a mic drop. Marsh, Jamie, if you guys disagree with it, I think it's an interesting conversation that goes beyond just they don't spend. They're not going to spend like the Dodgers, guys.
Well, they can't.
They can't. We're not going to. Why are we continuing to spend time on that? Like, how can the Cardinals compete with the rest of the league?
The Cardinals have a ton of different problems.
They do.
And I think it starts with developing their players.
Yes, which is something that they also completely lost sight of. Yeah. And Fred Bird being complacent, I think.
He got a little complacent, for sure. The effort certainly wasn't there.
What did he do?
Marcy went over it.
Oh, that's right. He did get demoted for the fella down in Memphis.
Yeah, we demoted him.
We did. He wasn't bringing the same heat. Nope. We know. I mean, you bring the heat like you did during the pandemic, and then you just sit back and try to rest on your laurels.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Some of those T-shirt tosses.
Oh, they weren't great.
They're weak.
Yep.
Tommy John may be required. He had a bad wing.
Ooh. He wasn't putting in the off-season time, though.
He didn't put in the time. Then he thought he could just get to spring training and hurl T-shirts, and he couldn't.
No.
Someone should call him out.
It's embarrassing. We did.
We did.
All right. This is kind of an interesting conversation. Do you stick with the guy that the front office wants you to have as your starting quarterback, or do you take the guy that has completely won over the locker room? That's next on 101 ESPN.
Anthony, it continues to get cold outside, but not FanDuel. FanDuel's always red hot, and they always have something great when it comes to the NFL. And right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money line bet. And we've talked about this before. This is just where you have to pick the winning team. It doesn't, like, there's no player props, and all that's available. Don't get me wrong. But just pick the winning team. With a $5 bet, and you get $150 in bonus bets.
Yeah, and pick your own team, by the way. Pick your own team, because the last couple of weeks, you're like, just take the Jaguars. Just take the Dolphins. You know what? Just pick your own team. Look at the schedule. You know, pick out who you think is going to be a guaranteed winner. Throw the $5 down. If they win, then, like Jamie said, you get the $150 in bonus bets, and you can use that money at FanDuel to play spreads and player props and the over-unders and all that. But you do have to get signed up. Visit FanDuel.com/fast. Again, FanDuel.com/fast, and then you can play at FanDuel. Take advantage of that offer, the $5 to get $150. Again, at FanDuel, the official partner of the NFL.
21 and over, present in Illinois. First online real money wager only. $5 pregame money line wager required. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issue is non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
So Tommy DeVito is becoming kind of a local legend for the Giants now. He led the comeback last night against the Packers, put together that last drive after the Packers had taken the lead late. DeVito and the Giants just needed a field goal to win it. DeVito gets them into field goal territory. Randy Bullock puts it through. and they upset the Packers last night at MetLife Stadium. Now, if Saquon Barkley didn't fumble the ball as the Giants are inching closer to the goal line, maybe there's no comeback needed. But nonetheless, Tommy DeVito has won over that locker room. You can tell. You can tell the way his teammates react to him, his coaches react to him. So if you're the Giants, you paid Daniel Jones, foolishly, you paid him a bunch of money after one good year. He got hurt this year. And now Tommy DeVito has won your locker room. Guys want to play with him, play for him. What do you do if you're the Giants organization right now? Do you stick with the guy that you paid the money to, or do you roll with the guy that's won over the rest of the roster?
Well, ultimately, you'd like to roll with the guy who won over the roster because he's a whole lot cheaper, too.
Yeah, if you could ditch the Jones contract.
Where are you sending that?
Right.
Where are you sending it? We know the outcome to this story.
Did you say Atlanta?
What?
Come on, Marsh.
We know the outcome to this story. You have to follow the money on this one.
Mm-hmm.
And although Tommy DeVito has been great, his numbers rival and, in fact, in some cases exceed some of the top quarterbacks in the league here recently. It's a tough situation because we've seen this happen before. Like, what about Arizona? While Kyler Murray was hurt, who did they have?
Joshua Dobbs.
Oh, but they told him he wasn't going anywhere, remember? Mm-hmm. You're not going anywhere. You're our guy. The guys love you. They're going to play for you. By the way, you're a Minnesota Viking.
Good luck. Good luck in Minnesota now.
What happened there, Anthony?
Yeah, Kyler Murray got healthy, came back.
Okay, Taylor Heineke. He won over the job in Washington, I believe.
Yeah.
I forget who he jumped ahead of.
I don't know if that was the Carson Wentz year.
Maybe it was. It was, actually. Carson Wentz was such a jerk. They didn't like him. And then Heineke was there, and the players rallied around Heineke because they liked him so much more than they liked Carson Wentz.
Might have been somebody else, but Wentz was not liked. To your point, Wentz was not liked.
Whatever the case, I think I'm right on this one. But either way, Taylor Heineke was the guy. Won over the locker room.
Yeah.
What happened to him? He's a backup quarterback again somewhere else.
In Atlanta, it's a Desmond Ridder.
Yeah.
Which, that's a tough fall.
So
making good money.
I'm just saying, this is what happens.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
Gardner Minshew. He jumped in the 1 year. Minshew magic, all this stuff, right? Now, I know he's starting right now, but had it not been for injury, he was a backup quarterback on a different team again.
Correct.
So I think we understand, we know where the ending is. And it's a shame because it is money-based. It is financial commitment that makes the decision for you.
Jamie, you're absolutely right. Alex Smith was the guy, by the way. And Smith he suffered the injury.
Oh.
But Taylor Heineke did.
But Heineke was there for Wentz, too.
He was. So
he was.
Absolutely.
Wentz was the year or two after.
Yeah, so Taylor Heineke played against Brady in that playoff game.
Right.
But then a year or so after, when Carson Wentz came in, he was terrible per usual.
Sure.
And then that's when Heineke took over again.
Yes.
To Jamie's point, though, it still goes to money and draft status, really, because Taylor Heineke, like you said, he actually played pretty well in that. He gave a really gritty performance against Tampa Bay in that playoff game, and Washington still said, "Nah, we'll go with the guy the Eagles don't want." In Carson Wentz, or maybe the Colts at that point. I can't remember what Carson Wentz's journey was exactly, but to Jamie's point, you're right. You got to follow the money, you got to follow the draft status. Daniel Jones is being paid. A lot. The other thing too, Marsh, what happened with the Vikings this last game?
Well, I mean, you cursed them, so
they won.
Well, I
gave them the top 10 rate. I still haven't heard a thank you from you. I put them in the top 10. Gritty performance in Vegas. Hell of a defensive effort. They win. Honoring that 10 spot that I gave them. I got so much flack and so much pushback. And the Vikings go ahead and win. And I still don't hear a thank you.
And your Falcons lost.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to thank you.
Again in the last second.
You're trying to sewer my team right now.
I am not.
And against all odds, they overcame the curse. But you put a curse on Josh Dobbs, too, who can't throw a football in the right spot. We get Justin Jefferson back, and he can only play a quarter and a half because Josh Dobbs is throwing the ball into the stratosphere.
Quick question. Who's the Vikings' backup quarterback right now?
Nick Mullins, who has pretty good numbers through the amount of starts that he has.
4 minutes ago.
Same as Andrew Luck almost.
Announced Minnesota Vikings via Twitter X. Nick Mullins will start Saturday in Cincinnati.
Yeah, baby. Heck yeah, that's my top 10 team.
I literally just pulled that up as you're talking.
Okay, so the point is, Joshua Dobbs, even they stuck with him. Kevin O'Connell stuck with him, which I thought it was great. Kevin O'Connell's like, look, this guy saved our season. I want to give him another chance.
Well, he almost blew it too, but
he almost blew it. But nonetheless, he saved the season. Right, Marsh, you were so distraught. You were so distraught when Kirk Cousins went down.
Man, he should be the MVP.
Joshua Dobbs literally steps off a plane. He meets his teammates. He rallies the Vikings against the Falcons, which everybody does that, but still impressive nonetheless, right? Even though he's like the 50th quarterback to do that in the last 3 years. Nonetheless, still impressive.
You're diminishing what he did.
Saved the season for you.
It's a crap sandwich.
But the more he played, the more he got exposed. This is what's going to happen to DeVito, too. We can have the money conversation. Jamie, you're absolutely right. He's going to get exposed, though. The more the backup plays, you said something yesterday, Jamie, about hockey. You said if you listen hard enough, the league will tell you what they think of a certain player. And I thought that was a great point. And if you really think about it from baseball standpoint, basketball standpoint, and football standpoint, same deal. They will tell you what they think of you. Joshua Dobbs is now on like his 10th team. He's not a full-time starter. He's a backup. Backups need to, you hope, break in case of emergency for 1 or 2 games, and then hopefully the starter comes back. In 1 or 2 games, Dobbs can play. The more he played, the more he got exposed. He's not unlike other backups. DeVito, the same thing's going to happen. This is a nice ride for him, but there's a reason why, he's still living at home with the folks and all that.
What about Brock Purdy, though?
Brock Purdy is a perfect fit for that system, and he hasn't. He hasn't played.
Right,
but
it's a similar situation.
Yesterday, you said something totally the other direction. You said he's not a systems guy, and then he's a systems quarterback.
Every quarterback is in a system. I've always said that. I said he's perfect for that system. I also said if he was drafted in the top 5 like Tua was, or 6. We'd be talking about him like we're talking about Tua. But because he's Mr. Irrelevant, we don't talk about him that way.
So
stop, Jamie. You're not going to stick me on this.
I don't think his parents called.
Let's say Tommy Cutlet's here.
Of course not.
Tommy Cutlets. He ends up going on a run. Probably not, just because the NFC East is a tough division here with the Cowboys and the Eagles at the top of that. But, let's say they went out and they go 9-8, make a wild card spot. What do you do then?
You open up the competition next year and say, hey, Daniel Jones, you're our guy. You're going to get your job back, but DeVito here, he's going to push you. And that's it. You do not name DeVito the starter. And I don't think it's going to happen. You're playing out the hypothetical on me.
Right,
I get you.
For sure.
DeVito's going to get exposed. DeVito's got a 3-interception game coming. I'm telling you right now. I don't know what their schedule is. What's the Giants?
What if he does?
Have you seen his agent? They're kissing each other.
That's
the whole
not an
family's
agent.
Kissing each other in the stands.
That was a hired actor for sure.
You think so?
Oh, there's no way.
Wasn't the agent?
Can you really? I know they're playing up the whole thing, but my God. The agent shows up wearing a 1930s, mobster outfit. Fedora included and all.
I kind of respect it, though. If the family's
Tommy gun underneath the jacket type thing. What are we doing here?
Anthony, you should be rooting on this guy. He's Italian.
Okay, listen, I respect my Italian brethren here, but it's still, fact remains, he's got a 3-interception game coming. Might not be against the Saints.
They play the Falcons?
No, they don't have the pleasure of beating the Falcons.
What does their schedule look like?
They've got this weekend the Saints, and then they play the Eagles, and then they play the Rams and the Eagles again. They get the Eagles twice, Saints, Eagles, Rams, Eagles. In the next 3 games, he's got a 3-interception game coming. Pick your poison. Whether that's Saints, Eagles, Rams, it's coming.
I don't disagree. I don't. If he doesn't, then, hey, great, all the power to him.
Right.
Well, nevertheless, it's a good story.
It is.
It's been
I'll give you that.
Fun ride.
Absolutely. All right, it's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Major League Baseball, is it in great shape? We keep hearing that with Shohei Ohtani. Yeah, it's owners are profitable. Players are making a lot of money. Do you really like it from this standpoint? Or do you look at the NFL and say, yeah, this league's watered down. It's too much parity. What? How do you like your sports? That's next on 101 ESPN.
If you're looking to purchase car or home insurance, please make your first phone call to Tracy Bibb and the Bibb Agency, Allstate insurance provider. With Allstate and the Bibb Agency, you're going to get that personal attention that you require from your agent. One, you may not know exactly how much you're covered for. When I went over to the Bibb Agency, I just thought, I'm covered. No, I wasn't. I was covered, but not the way I needed to be. Tracy Bibb changed all that for me, fought hard, got me the best rates possible, and it's no longer a 1-800 number for me. It's someone I can call on the side of the road. When my daughter has been an offender bender and she doesn't know what to do, she calls Tracy Bibb. Tracy Bibb walks her through everything, and everything works out to be just fine. That's because you're part of the Bibb family. So please don't wait any longer. If you're looking for car or home insurance or anything else, or you have a question for Tracy, just give her a call at 314-328-4260. That's 314-328-4260. It's no fib. You're in good hands with Tracy Bibb.
ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Jakub Vrana was placed on waivers earlier today ahead of the Blues game as they take on the Detroit Red Wings tonight. Pregame for that one starts at 5:30. Puck drop is at 6:30, and you can catch all the action right here on 101 ESPN. We will talk with Joe Vitale later in the 4 o'clock hour, so stay tuned for that. Also, last night, Monday Night Football, the Tennessee Titans defeated the Miami Dolphins 28-27, and the New York Football Giants defeated the Green Bay Packers 24-22. If you missed anything from today's show, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com or check out the free 101 mobile app. You can find all of our shows and interviews there. It's all brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. This Sports Center update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Fastlane on 101 ESPN. How do you like your sports? You like your sports where you're a team that got a shot, might not have the best roster, but the league overall, like the NFL, is not top-heavy? Or would you rather have it be Major League Baseball, where the Dodgers, the Braves, and the Phillies, the teams that spend the most, the Yankees, Blue Jays are going to be in that mix too, Astros maybe. If you're a fan of one of those teams, yeah, you like it. You know that you're armed with enough spending capability and flexibility to be one of the top teams. But if you're a, I don't know, Cardinals fan, mid-market fan, definitely if you're a Pirates fan or something like that, you're done. You don't even watch anymore. What would you rather have? Because the quality in baseball might be better than what the NFL has.
Yeah, maybe.
Because the NFL, 49ers are the top team right now. They lost 3 games in a row at one point. Chiefs are not what they have been. The Bills are not what they have been. Even the Ravens, you and I like the Ravens a lot. Their defense didn't look that great on Sunday. So you get kind of that unpredictability each and every week. But I think some fans would say, no, I want the top teams constantly. No, you don't. Not if you're not a fan of that team. If you're in week whatever we are now, 15, and you're a Vikings fan at 7-6, you know you just watched some crap football last week, but your team won. You're still in it. How's it feel, Marsh?
Feels pretty good.
I want the games to matter to me. That's my take on this. I realize I'm not watching the most quality football, the top quality football. I get that. I'm sacrificing that, though, knowing that each game, completely unpredictable. We think we have it figured out, right? Dolphins, easy one. Money line play against the Titans, right? If you're FanDuel.com/fast. There we go.
Thought you were going to say something else.
I should have. Give you more time. They lose. Packers last night in the Tommy DeVito. Giants come back and win.
Love that.
You're glued to the screen.
Yeah.
I'd rather have that.
Football's not the only sport. Look at the NHL.
Yeah.
You have a couple of bottom feeders. I mean, it just happens. Like,
sure.
Not every team is going to be clicking all the time.
Football, you get that. I mean, Panthers stink.
Cyclical to where you'll have a team that's going through a rebuild or a whatever. You know what I mean? It is what it is. But for the most part, like the last handful of years, the NHL coming down to the last 3 weeks of the season, you don't necessarily know who's got a locked up playoff spot when it comes to the wild cards.
Yeah.
Some of the division guys, like Boston had it locked up at Christmas last year, okay? It's rare, but they did. Mm-hmm. So I think the NHL, rather, has also figured out the parity thing. And even though teams have a higher end salary or some higher end players, it's not a given that they win.
Yeah.
So I guess the question then probably loops back to something we talked about earlier. Does a league require a salary cap to stay competitive?
From a fan's perspective, yes. Yes.
Yeah.
From an owner standpoint, no. From a player standpoint, no. They don't want it. The owners don't want a floor. The players don't want a cap.
I get it.
But from a fan's standpoint, yeah.
So then how does that work itself out then? Because as a league, you have a responsibility to continue to grow your fan base, and growing a fan base equals more revenue. Mm-hmm. And that's ultimately what you want. So are you nearsighted and say, no salary cap, we don't care because we want to make our money now? Or do you want to continue to make money incrementally for the next 30 years by growing your fan base, because each year you're at least able to stay competitive?
Yeah. I'll answer that question this way, Jamie.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. I hope that the Dodgers fail miserably. I hope the Dodgers fall in the same pit that the Padres did. You try to circumvent things, you fall into the pit, you get what's coming to you, right?
La Brea tar pit.
Yes. You know, I hope succeeds. I really hope this is sustainable. The Baltimore Orioles.
Oh, yeah.
That is a young team, and that fan base went through hell, won competitive, they drafted well, developed well, and now they've got a good, potentially great young team. I hope it's sustainable. I would rather have that where they did it through drafting, developing, and now those players who played together, a lot of them through the minors, are playing at an elite level. And then you still have more guys like Jackson Holiday. Now, you got to be bad for a while. I get that. And that's tough. But they should have a sustained run now. I'd rather have that than what the Padres did, where they grabbed the headlines for a second, put together a team that is talented and expensive, but doesn't win. I'd rather have the Orioles. What about you guys? I think that's better for the sport.
Well, yeah, it's better for the sport, but is it better for you personally?
If I'm an Oriole fan?
Yeah, but if you're not an Oriole fan, do you care?
Do I? Yeah, I'd rather. But I phrased it, I'll be honest, I phrased it the way that I did with the Orioles building the way they did and the Dodgers building. I'd rather see the Orioles win. So I phrased it that way. So does it care? Do I care? Yeah, I'm going to root for the Orioles more so than I'm going to root for the Phillies, the Dodgers.
Okay, so let me ask you this in a different way then.
Yeah.
When you turn on your TV, no time change, no zones, all this stuff, just 2 baseball games are going on.
Yeah.
You watching the Dodgers or you watching the Orioles? Be honest. I know the answer.
Yeah, the answer is the Dodgers. Yeah. I'd be more intrigued by, but I hope I watch the Orioles.
But you're not. Like,
I wonder if I want, but
you got Ohtani,
Jamie,
you got Betts, you got Freeman, you got this.
Yeah.
You're not watching the Orioles unless.
Okay, I'll tell you why I'm watching the Dodgers. You're right. I'm watching to hope that I'm rooting against them.
What about the Astros?
You're right. I'm still watching.
But you're still watching.
Yeah.
What about the Astros? Because the Astros, the way I look at the Baltimore Orioles, why are they good is because they sucked for so long.
Absolutely. I mentioned
the Astros.
That. Yeah.
Terrible for years, right?
Right.
From 2005, the moment they lost in the World Series, really up until they were back to relevancy in the American League. No one cared about the Astros.
No.
But now they're one of the powerhouse teams. So if you ask that same question now, would it be the Astros or the Dodgers? Now we have an actual conversation. But the Orioles right now, maybe they're not in the conversation now, but if they continue to build, they could be in that conversation 5 years from now.
I mean, Marsh, say for the trash can thing, which has to kind of, that's the caveat here. The Astros tanked, but at least they tanked in a way that's sustainable.
Right, and that's why I'm trying to prove your point with the Orioles. Like right now, it's probably the Dodgers. That's the answer to the question. But in 5 years from now, it could be the Orioles because they are a part of the AL East. Let's not forget that.
I'll tell you another team I don't mind. I don't mind Mama Rivs' Blue Jays.
Yeah.
They drafted Vlad. They drafted Bo Bichette. They draft a lot, and then they supplemented. Then they sprung for George Springer. Then they brought in Kevin Gausman. Alek Manoah, had he not flamed out last year, that was a homegrown talent that they had.
Yeah.
To me, it's not about right or wrong. It's just about sustainability. Are you doing it in a manner that is sustainable, or are you doing it in a manner of just like, you know what, bring in Shohei, bring in Mookie Betts, bring these guys because we can.
But what's sustainable for one team isn't for another. So what the Dodgers are doing is clearly sustainable for them. What the Padres are doing is not.
Right.
So, and we got a text here from 314. It says, clearly Jamie's just a casual baseball fan. I watch the Orioles before I get to the Dodgers game. Okay. Great. I hope you love the Orioles. I like the Orioles too. My issue is not with the Orioles. But when you say clearly Jamie's just a casual baseball fan, you're right. I am. I'm a diehard Cardinals fan, but I'm a casual baseball fan. So that's why this is relevant. Because where is the casual baseball fan? Where are their eyeballs going? Are they going to the Orioles game, or are they going to Shohei Ohtani and the Dodgers? The casual baseball fan is watching where the money is. Bottom line.
Are you going to watch the Dodgers? Be honest.
Yeah, absolutely I am. Why? Because I want to see if they're any good at all, or if they fail, I want to see what it looks like.
Were you interested in the Padres?
Yes, I was.
Okay, because I got a bigger...
I was, absolutely.
I got a bigger point to be made, too. I don't know if there is a casual baseball fan. I think that's the bigger issue.
Well, fine, but if there is, like, the casual baseball fan is not digging into somebody's favorite team. They're digging into the biggest names.
Right.
Bottom line, I turn on the TV as a casual baseball fan, and I see the Orioles versus the Tigers, or I see the Dodgers versus whoever. Right. I'm watching the Dodgers. I'm watching the Dodgers.
You can make that argument for any sport,
If you're not hate watching, then we're done here.
You can make that argument for any sport.
Okay.
Yeah, you can.
Same with hockey, same with basketball.
You can, for sure. But
same with football.
But this is why the NHL and some of the, especially NHL, like they always hope that a bigger market hits the Stanley Cup final.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that? Why
More
last
eyeballs.
year? Last year was supposed to be a great matchup. Vegas, Florida. From a hockey standpoint, it was like, this is great. Matthew Tkachuk and the Florida Panthers are grinding it out against the Vegas Golden Knights. The ratings said people didn't care.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't care. Now, if you had the Rangers, the Kings, the Bruins, the Maple Leafs, you put one of the, all of a sudden, they care. Why is that?
Because of the city and because of the names.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Goes back to my Dodgers argument.
I hate it. Hate them. Hate your argument.
It's not the hill I'm dying on.
I'm gonna hate watch them this year.
It's not the hill I'm dying on. It's not saying that, oh, yeah, that's what. This is the way it is.
Yeah.
So Ben Verlander,
with you.
who Justin's brother, and loves to mention that he is Justin's brother, he tweeted out, seems to be a lot of worry out there about competitive balance. Yes, baseball doesn't have a salary cap. Since 2000, Major League Baseball has had 16 different franchises win a championship. The NFL had 13, NHL has 13, NBA 11.
But that goes back to my point about what you. Okay, so Marsh, I brought this up earlier. Remember when I said the person that brings this up is going to bring it up to back Major League Baseball. There's parity. No, you're talking about the champion. How many teams repeated their playoff performances?
Yeah.
It's such a short. And I bought it too. I bought it hook,
Yeah, you
line, and
did.
sinker.
You swallowed it.
So there's a reply. This Evan Wayne fella replies to this tweet and says 13 of those championship teams were top 10 payrolls in the league. 21 of 24 of those teams were in the upper half of league payrolls. The 2003 Marlins are the only team below 18th in overall spending to win it.
But I'd be also interested in how many of the same top 4 teams were there? How many of the same top 6 teams? I mean, we're always talking about the same damn teams. And then somebody in baseball goes, there's a different champion. Yeah, the freaking Astros are in it every year.
No, I agree with
Dodgers
you.
I know. I'm yelling into the ether here. The Dodgers are in it every single year. The Yankees.
But there is one outlier.
And they usually win. And then it's like, see, baseball's good.
Or they get close.
Or they get close. You talking about the Cardinals?
No, I want.
Oh, well, clearly not.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, they haven't been close in a long time.
Just get in.
Just get in, baby.
Just get in.
Just get in, baby.
You never know.
Are you sold next on 101 ESPN? Auto Centers Nissan Herculaneum, that's the spot, man. If you need a new car, need a new ride, need a new vehicle, man, Auto Centers Nissan Herculaneum, they've got great pricing. They've got great financing, especially right now. In fact, they got unbelievable financing at a time where, you know that the rates where they are and it's shaky out there. But the financing department at Auto Centers Nissan Herculaneum, fantastic. No money down. No payments for 90 days, 0% APR for up to 5 years. Just a couple of the options that Auto Centers Nissan Herculaneum is going to give you. And it's not just new Nissans. They've got pre-owned vehicles, different makes, different models. We just purchased a Nissan Pathfinder, but we did look at other makes and models at Nissan Herculaneum. They do a great job of making sure that their selection is outstanding. So start at AutoCentersNissan.com. Take a look at what they have to offer. You're going to be amazed by how many different options that they have for you at different pricing. Then go in, take the test drive, talk to them about their 30-day return promise, talk to them about, the enter to win a brand new Polaris ATV as well. Talk to them about their hot dogs. Jamie loves those. Who doesn't? Hot dogs are great at Auto Centers Nissan Herculaneum, but also talk to them about their customer service. In fact, you're just going to feel it as soon as you walk in. It's Auto Centers Nissan Herculaneum. Tell them Stalter sent you. It's Fastlane on 101 ESPN with Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. Here's Andrew Marsh with Are You Sold?
All right, gentlemen, are you sold? Justin Herbert, he's having season-ending surgery. Are you sold on Brandon Staley coaching his final game with Justin Herbert?
Yes, I am.
Is it over for Brandon Staley?
Yes, it is.
It has to be. Come on. What finger did Herbert fracture?
I think it was his thumb.
On his throwing hand?
I think it was his non-throwing hand at first, and it might be his throwing hand now.
Okay.
I think he's got multiple
All right.
finger issues.
Yeah. You're going to see just what this team looks like without Justin Herbert. And there's no way Staley's there anymore. There's no way.
Yeah, it's
Bill
it's a wrap.
Belichick is taking over the Chargers.
I hope so.
Pat McAfee said so.
I'd like to see
It's
it.
got to be true.
Yeah, he'll undergo surgery on his broken finger. Will miss the remainder of the season. See ya. They also signed Max Duggan off the practice squad, so maybe we'll see the former TCU quarterback quarterbacking your LA Chargers.
Who?
Max Duggan, the quarterback for TCU last
Jim's
year.
son.
Nope.
How do you know?
I know.
How?
Different spelling.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
How do you spell your Duggan?
You know.
Yeah, I'm sold.
Spell it
He's done.
hacksaw. Jim Duggan. Do you remember him?
Yes, I do. Hacksaw. I absolutely do.
If this guy comes in the game carrying a 2x4, we'll know who his dad is, okay?
That'd be great. Nobody knows. He just brings it in.
2x4.
Let's go to work. 2x4?
Are you sold that what we're seeing from the Blues isn't the same version of last year's Blues?
Well, it's a little early for that, for me. It's a little early. They've hit a skid here, but they're still only, 1 point out of a playoff spot, I believe? I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe they're a couple points out now, but I know they're not far out of the playoff picture. So that would lead me to believe that we're not quite there yet. And I don't know ultimately what lies ahead for this team, but I'd like to think that, playoff push is there. They've had some games they should have won that they've given back to the other team. They've had games where they've just given the other team the game in the first period, then dominated for 2 more periods after that. I still think this team's trying to find a consistency that it needs to be successful. Obviously, they're still trying to find it because obviously we still have line combinations and things that are going on that keep changing. But looking here right now, equal games played to the Arizona Coyotes. They're 1 point behind for the second wildcard spot.
I'm not sold that this is the team that took the ice last year. I mean, there were dramatic losing streaks. Now they mixed in some winning streaks too, but it didn't feel like at any point they were at one point in late December, January, that the Blues were going to make this run. I think they had too many issues to overcome, and they weren't improving at all. This is I think the issues aren't as paramount, and I think the way that they're playing is more sustainable this year. I just think they're a fringe playoff team. I have them in the playoffs. I won't back down on that, back off that. But they're a fringe playoff team, and this is how fringe playoff teams play. You're going to see good stretches and bad stretches in any sport. Mm-hmm. So, no, I'm not sold that this is the same team as last year.
We got a message from the Snake Pit. Gatorbait says, hell yeah, 80s wrestling talk, Junkyard Dog was the best.
Junkyard Dog. That's why I call Oscar Sundquist. It's a Junkyard Dog.
Love it.
Yeah, totally a Junkyard Dog, that guy.
All right, guys, are you sold after the Shohei Ohtani deferred money that the Dodgers sign Yamamoto?
Absolutely. 100%.
You think so?
Yeah. I mean, Yamamoto's going to be a Dodger.
He did say he wanted to go to a contending team that had another Japanese player.
Dodgers.
I think they checked the boxes.
Check and check. Yes.
Yeah.
It's a layup.
Now, I do know the Yankees made a big push, and so has Steve Cohen. And Steve Cohen has been known to spend stupid money. So maybe he goes stupid money again.
Maybe.
The Yankees, in recent years, have not gone stupid money. They've gone fair market value, like Judge. That's stupid money, but it's kind of what he was going to get.
Right.
So I don't know.
They paid fair market value to keep him.
Yeah, so I don't know if the Yankees are going to come over top, off the top rope with some stupid contract that doesn't make sense. I feel like that's not the way the organization's going anymore. So for me, it's between the Mets and the Dodgers for Yamamoto.
Yeah, he's going to be a Dodger. 100%.
Are you sold? This one comes from the 314 on the idea that the Blues should pick up Corey Perry.
All right, so a couple things here about Corey Perry that we should get out there. One, would he help this team? Yeah, probably. Probably. Two, we don't really know what just happened, although Doug Armstrong has given second chances to players and personnel alike in the last handful of years. Jakub Vrana was a guy he gave a second chance to. Obviously, he went through the substance abuse program with the NHL, well documented. Jakub Vrana himself talks about it pretty openly. Didn't work out here. He also gave Jim Montgomery a second chance after having some issues, and that worked out swimmingly for both the Blues and now Jim Montgomery. So would Doug look to maybe entertain a Corey Perry reunion because of the Team Canada days? Maybe. I just don't know if stylistically he might be the player. As far as skating and pace, though, I don't know how much he helps the team. Because he's gritty, he'll get to the front of the net, all those things, he'll scrap, but he still is slowing your team down with his pace. And that's one thing the Blues right now are trying desperately to do, is increase their pace of play. So if I'm out there looking for a player, I want everything that Corey Perry brings to the table, but just a little more speed along with it. So that's the way I look at it.
We got an interesting text from Ron, and then I will pair that with an Are You Sold? But we got the text in. It says, Jamie, I laugh about these so-called Cardinal fans that want to accuse you of being a casual fan when most of the people I see at Cardinals games have their heads buried in their phones or talking without paying attention. Half of them wouldn't know the pitch count during an at-bat if asked without looking at the scoreboard. 90% of fans are going to games as casual fans, while hockey fans only have about 10% that are casual fans. That's, once again, is from Ron. So are you sold that there are more casual fans in sports now because of the technology in their hands and other distractions during games?
Yeah, absolutely.
I would say absolutely.
Yes.
And in fact, I think it's transformed hardcore fans into casual fans in some instances because they're distracted by other things.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think this is as great as these cell phones are. Technology, as great as technology is, it has made us more impatient, I think.
Oh, yeah.
We're not interested in having the conversations anymore. You're not interested in talking to people. You're just quick text. It's more convenient. You're not interested in watching a full baseball game unfold and appreciating from inning 1 to, inning 9. You're looking around. Yeah.
The flip side of that is every time something good happens, so when you have a Ohtani season or an Albert Pujols watch for his home runs or anything like that, Aaron Judge, the non-fan becomes a casual fan by default because they're on social media and that's all they see. True. And all of a sudden they're tuning in at night because, like, hey, this dude, I don't really know who this dude is, but he could hit 700 home runs tonight.
Right. Man, good call.
Yeah. So it works a little bit both ways.
Sure. All right, we have the Gauntlet. We got a Gauntlet championship, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, boy.
What?
Yeah, Kevin.
But I didn't play Kevin.
But BT did.
I know.
BT did, so.
We should ask Kevin if he wants to try. That's not fair.
No, it's not.
I know.
All right, Kevin goes for a Gauntlet trophy next on 101 ESPN.
Jamie Rivers here, and I want to tell you about Sound Story. And Sound Story right now is an incredible gift for your family or a loved one surrounding the holiday time, Christmas time of year. And what Sound Story is a professionally produced hour-long conversation where you or a loved one is interviewed by your choice of one of 3 professional interviewers. You've got Tim McKernan, Randy Carricker, and Anthony Stalter. And all it is a conversation that includes their personal experiences, whether it's from their childhood, school, high school, college, their career, maybe meeting that special someone. So let's say it's your grandfather that's talking to Anthony, and he gets to describe to Anthony everything about growing up, building his career, meeting your grandmother, having his children. And you get to hear all of that, and you get to keep it forever, because Sound Story is recorded forever for everybody to listen to and go back so that your grandkids can hear all of those amazing stories as well. And right now, all you have to do is go to mysoundstory.com and enter promo code ESPN to get this holiday special of 20% off a gift certificate for Sound Story. Again, that promo code is ESPN at mysoundstory.com. Sound Story, for you, for them, forever.
Warriors, 4 categories, 1 challenger. Can you master the Gauntlet?
Brought to you by Master, your hometown source for business communications for more than 30 years. Visit masstour.com.
Time for the Gauntlet in the Fast Lane. 405, your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler, with Jamie Rivers and Andrew Marsh. I'm Anthony Stalter. We welcome back Kevin for the 3rd consecutive show. That means that Kevin has an opportunity to win a Gauntlet trophy. What's up, Kevin?
Hey, how you guys doing today?
A little nervous. We don't want to hand out trophies. We don't like doing that. But, Kevin, you're on the doorstep here, my man.
I'm just as nervous as you are, Stalter.
I don't know if you saved me for last on purpose or just worked out that way. Either way, you got me today. So good luck, Kevin.
All right, good luck to you, too.
Thank you.
All right, Anthony, get the heck out of here. As Anthony makes his way to the cone of silence, Marshy Marsh has the wheel all queued up. Kevin, you know what to tell Marshy to do. Go ahead.
Spin that wheel, Marshy.
All right, Kev, you got Anthony. Now, is there something, a category that you want?
I'm fine with anything, but I know Stalter usually gets hockey, and that's what I don't want.
Oh, boy. Well, I got good news. It's not hockey.
Woo.
You're going back-to-back with random.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah, this isn't bad, because Anthony, I don't know what his record is in random, but I don't feel like it's great. Marshy, what do you think?
Well, we're restarting our stats here. So
okay, all right, fine. All right, Kevin. So there's 4 questions. Each of them are worth 2 points. If you use the options, answer correctly, obviously you get 1 point for that. And if you get it wrong, well, you get 0 points. This is a big deal. This is for a Gauntlet trophy. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, bud, here we go. Category again. Random question number 1. Name the actor who played the lead role of storm chaser Bill Harding in the 1996 blockbuster movie Twister.
I'm going to need the options for that one.
All right. Was it Keanu Reeves, Tim Robbins, or Bill Paxton?
I'm going to go with Tim Robbins. Final answer.
Question number 2. What is the capital of India?
Capital of India. Oh, big start. Let's get the options again.
Options are Mumbai, New Delhi. Jamie, you're going to have to help me out with this third one. Kyrgyzstan.
What was the first one?
Mumbai.
I have no idea. Let's go New Delhi. Finalist.
All right, question number 3. Who is the mascot for the Frosted Flakes cereal?
Tony the Tiger. Final answer.
And question number 4. Volleyball made its debut as an official medal sport at the 1964 Olympics. Where were those summer games held?
Might as well give me the options there, too.
Options are Tokyo, Berlin, or Norway.
And did you say in the question, was it summer or winter? Or?
Summer Olympics.
Summer of 64.
Probably not Norway. Let's just go Tokyo. Final answer.
All right, Kev. Let's get our guy Anthony in here.
Those were tough.
Yeah. How'd you feel about that, buddy?
Oh, I think I got one with that one question, but the other 3 are up in the air, you know?
Yeah. All right. Anthony's plugging his ears in here, so let's go back to radio silence here. What's that? Don't worry about that. How was the cone of silence, Anthony?
Lonely.
Very lonely.
Yeah, Ryder wasn't in there.
Does it make you more focused or less focused when there's nothing in there?
Less. I feel less pumped up today.
Oh. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's too bad because you better pack a lunch. Your category. Random.
Okay.
Question number 1.
What random? Yeah.
Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Focus.
Okay.
Question number 1. Name the actor who played the lead role of storm chaser Bill Harding in the 1996 blockbuster movie Twister.
I remember the movie. A lot of tornadoes.
A lot of twisters.
And was it Bill Paxton? Pullman? One of them guys was in it. I don't know what character you're talking about, though, so can I get the options, please?
Sure. Was it Keanu Reeves, Tim Robbins, or Bill Paxton?
Bill Paxton. Final answer. All right.
Question number 2. What is the capital of India?
The capital of India?
We were just talking about this.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm just trying to think of some places it could be in India. There's, let me get the options, please.
Options are Mumbai, New Delhi, or Kyrgyzstan.
Yeah.
That last one doesn't sound right. New Delhi sounds right. I'm going to say New Delhi. Final answer.
All right, Anthony, question number 3. Who is the mascot for the cereal Frosted Flakes?
Tony the Tiger. Final answer.
And question number 4. Volleyball made its debut as an official medal sport at the 1964 Olympics. Where were those summer games held?
It's in 1964?
1964.
Oh yeah, I remember a lot from that. I remember the volleyball matches, watching them on YouTube. But just for sake of time, Marsh, go ahead, give me your options. I want to make sure that I'm not keeping everybody waiting.
Options are Tokyo, Berlin, or Norway.
Tokyo, Berlin, or Norway? I don't know. Tokyo. Final answer. That was tough.
All right, let's go over this. Let's start right there. Let's go with question number 4. Volleyball made its debut as an official medal sport at the 1964 Olympics.
No doubt everybody remembers that.
Where were those games held? Kevin, you said Tokyo.
Oh, boy.
Anthony, you also said Tokyo. Answer is...
Guys, it's Tokyo.
Oh.
But you both needed the options.
Okay. I was about to say. Come on.
1-1 after 1.
Nice job, Kevin.
Next question. Go to question 2. What is the capital of India? Kevin, you said New Delhi. Anthony, you also said New Delhi.
Mm-hmm.
You used the options. Marshy, what's the answer?
It is New Delhi.
New Delhi. Kevin also used the options.
Okay, here we go.
2-2. After 2. Let's go to question 3. This one's a tough one. Who is the mascot for the Frosted Flakes cereal? Kevin, you said there. Great. Tony the Tiger.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony, you also said Tony the Tiger. Andrew, answer is?
It is Tony the Tiger.
Tony the Tiger. So we are 4-4 after 3.
So neither of us used it then, obviously?
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Right.
If you need the options on that one, you lose automatically, okay?
That's fair.
Just stop.
I just love how it's dropped in with, 1964 Olympics and everything else.
And then Tony the Tiger.
Yeah.
You want to make sure you get one.
That's true. Yeah.
All right. When's the last time you had Frosted Flakes, anyways?
Oh, man, I couldn't tell you. It's been a long time.
It's been a while for me, too. A couple of years, but, man, they're good every time.
Well, actually, some say they're great.
They are.
There you go,
All right,
Marsh.
let's get to the end of this thing. Okay, final question here. Name the actor who played the lead role of Storm Chaser Bill Harding in the 1996 blockbuster movie Twister. You both used the options. You both have different answers. Kevin, you said Tim Robbins. Anthony, you said Bill Paxton. If Anthony is correct, he wins. If Kevin is correct, he wins. If it's Keanu Reeves, we've got a walk-off. Kevin.
You have chosen poorly.
You lose. Not today.
Anthony got you. It was Bill Paxton with the options for Anthony. He wins 5-4 today in a Gauntlet final. Kevin, great job, my man.
Thanks. I appreciate it. Good job, Anthony.
Hey, thanks, Kevin. Nice job to you, too. That was a tough one, man.
That was
got
tough.
We got all of them combined except for the first one, man. So nice job, Kevin. Thanks for playing.
Yeah, no problem. Have a good one.
Take care, buddy. Good job, Anthony.
Thank you.
I'm proud of you.
I don't know. Well, I guessed on several of those. I don't know how close I was to just going with like Bill Pullman instead of.
Yeah. When you started going Bill Paxton and Bill Pullman, I'm like, oh God, hold on.
I was walking the line.
This is where it happens, right here. Then you took the options, and then obviously that was question number 1, so I didn't know where you were going to land.
Yeah.
Like later on, you guys literally mimicked each other the rest of the way.
Except for the first one. Wow.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Better be lucky than good sometimes.
They're great.
I don't know who did. I don't know if it was Grant or Bradford that did the questions. If they threw a Bill Pullman, Bill Paxton, that would have been rough.
That would have been awesome, actually.
Have you ever played that game, Bill Pullman or Bill Paxton?
No, I've never played that game. Played a lot of games, different ones, weird ones, but never that.
We'll talk about those games next. No.
Sure.
All right, it's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. Joy Vitale will join us at 4:45. So we'll talk a little Blues hockey with Joe ahead of tonight's game between the Blues and the Red Wings. Let's do what's trending next on... Actually, you know what? No, we got what's... I forgot we're off a little bit earlier today.
Yeah, we are.
Let's do a Sports Six-Pack next.
That's terrible, too.
Yeah, totally.
I'm going to stay on an extra half hour just because.
Good for you, Jamie. Absolutely. I'm going to be with you on that.
All right.
Yeah. 314-399-9646, the Air Comfort Service text line. If you got a question for us, send it there. Our Sports Six-Pack is next. I went to the Missouri Athletic Club today. I always love taking advantage of the amenities at the Missouri Athletic Club. It's not just a workout facility. It's a business center. It is an opportunity for you to take various classes. They've got clubs within the club where you can kind of sign up for various interests that you might have. It's great for an individual. It's great for the family. Great spots to eat, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. We've done date nights at the Missouri Athletic Club. My wife, Chris, and I, we've taken the kids to brunches, Mother's Day brunches and Easter brunches, all that. It's a great spot. And then, of course, throughout the week, I enjoy going, using the business center, prepping for the show, getting my workout in. Love seeing the people down there as well. I've gotten to know some people that I see kind of daily now. It's great. It's Miami AC. It's the Missouri Athletic Club.
It's time for the Fast Lane to answer your sports questions.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions. And I want to have them answered immediately.
Asking me all these weird questions.
Answer the question.
Answer the question.
Answer me!
The Sports Six-Pack is now.
It's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Jamie Rivers, Anthony Stalter. Here's Andrew Marsh with your questions for the Sports Six-Pack.
Question number 1.
All right, gentlemen, from the 636, if you had your choice of a sit-down interview with any sports player, regardless of what sport it is, who would it be and what questions would you ask them?
Oh, wow. Okay, so, wow, there's so many for me. So, full disclosure, not that I've had a chance to sit down and interview this person, but I was friends with him for quite a while and still acquaintances, is Dennis Rodman.
Mm-hmm.
And that was fun. Like, it wasn't like sit down, just ask him questions. It's just in passing, you're talking about different experiences, you know, whether it's cities that you go on the road, parties, bars, clubs, whatever it is that you visit. Maybe there's stories about friends and parties or girls or whatever it is. It's full disclosure at that point because nobody's around, right? So that was kind of fun talking to Dennis Rodman, like on a semi-regular basis. But if I had a choice to like sit down, I think, can we pick more than one, or does it just have to be one?
I think it has to be one.
Okay.
Whoa. Now my microphones.
I asked that because
in my face.
I feel like each sport has someone that would be so intriguing for different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
So like for me in basketball, like Magic Johnson, I'd like to sit down unfiltered with Magic Johnson because that guy's lived a life. He has. He was a rock star when it came to basketball, one of the biggest stars in LA at that time, including movie stars. He was promiscuous. He had a lot of those stories. Then he had HIV. How did that work out? How did he play through that? Then he totally changed his life and became this frigging Forbes magazine businessman.
Mm-hmm.
And now, so he's evolved. So I find that would be super intriguing for me for basketball. Tiger Woods would be an awesome interview. Let's talk about your childhood, your rise to friggin' Hall of Fame status easily, then your fall. Like, what did that look like? And now you're recapturing and rebranding.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of guys to me. Lawrence Taylor would be somebody I would love to talk to because of him being such a phenomenal football player.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I can pick just one. Mike Tyson.
Yeah. So it also depends on how much you're willing to give you, right? So if you sit down with Tiger Woods,
I'm anticipating this is like where he calls me and says, "Hey, Riv, I'm ready."
Yeah.
Unfiltered.
Sure.
Satellite radio or podcast. Let's go.
So I don't think of players. I think of coaches. I think Phil Jackson sitting down with him and talking to him about the '90s Bulls, and then him going.
But all his stories would be stories about other people.
I know, but I feel like I would get the best of both worlds in that from that standpoint. Like, when did you decide to roll with Tex Winter and that triangle offense? And, you know, how different was it managing Kobe and Shaq, and what were they like from his perspective compared to Rodman and Jordan and Pippen? How much, you know?
Do you think that's more intriguing than having Shaq on describing his rivalry and his teammate Kobe Bryant?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah, but only because I wonder if so with Jackson, there'd be bias, but at least there'd be objective bias.
Yeah.
If I'm talking to a player, I'm only getting that bias.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm not sitting here poking holes into who you're interviewing.
Yeah.
I'm asking you questions. I'm intrigued.
Definitely don't poke holes.
I think
not an Anthony.
I think Phil Jackson would be interesting. Greg Popovich.
Really?
Nick Saban, Belichick. Like, I think of coaches.
Hey, Anthony.
Urban Meyer.
I appreciate you having me on.
Urban Meyer.
Not Urban. I wouldn't. Yeah,
why? There's a lot of questions I have about Florida
that were not covered in that Netflix documentary.
Correct.
By the way.
Correct.
Yeah, I think of that. So I get the sports influence, the X's and O's influence, plus, you know, what's it like to work with certain players. You know, from a baseball standpoint, Tony would be phenomenal.
Is this all unfiltered?
That's my question.
That's the way I view it. Because otherwise, an interview with Tiger Woods, Magic Johnson, Phil Jackson is fluff.
Yeah, right.
Otherwise, it's just fluff. It's candy. Oh, I really worked hard and battled through.
No, you almost have to have the reassurance
about how you were buckled. You're taking sleeping pills. You were drinking alcohol. You had 3 side chicks going. Like, I want to hear the
all
story.
At the same game.
And then you were shooting 5 under par at the Masters the next day. Like, this is what I want to hear. Right?
How? When?
Magic
Why?
Johnson. I don't know. It was a big room. There were a lot of people. You know, like that kind of thing. Like, this is what I want to hear.
Stuff happens.
Then I went out and shot 45 the next day.
Right. Didn't think about it.
Well, if that's the case, I think you'd probably want to pick someone controversial for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not even controversial. You'd be successful, but their life has some peaks and valleys, right? I think every iconic athlete has situations in their career and in their personal life. One of them got sacrificed. There's no perfect fairy tale when it comes to being a Hall of Fame athlete of some kind. There's no perfect fairy tale.
Jordan would be incredible.
Well, but then there's so many things to uncover there, right? Like his dad.
Why did you really walk away?
What was it like being sucked down in the Looney Tune town or whatever that place is called?
Well, Anthony's never seen that, so that's like talking German to Anthony.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious. I've never
that was
seen
always a joke.
No, I've never seen it. And the more people
great movie.
the more I get that reaction, the more
not
a jerk I am about it.
It's just a classic film.
No, it isn't.
It's not.
It's crap.
What are you talking about?
I haven't seen it, but it's not.
Are we talking about Space Jam?
Yes.
Yeah, it's crap.
It's got a great soundtrack.
It's crap.
I've done well avoiding it.
Yeah. So,
thank
but
you.
I will say this: if your kids would like an entertaining sports-ish movie, it's great.
Okay.
Killian and Maddie would think it's enjoyable. You would find it somewhat enjoyable. You're not wasting your time.
Fair.
But for you to specifically sit down to satisfy our listenership, because you don't do it.
Thank you.
Not unless there's a lot of makers involved.
Yeah.
Then
I won't even remember.
Then Twitter Anthony comes alive.
Jamie always appreciates Twitter Anthony when he's Jamie's great because Jamie anytime I walk in the office, Jamie already knows whether or not I was hitting the maker's hard and I stumbled onto Twitter.
Oh God, I love it. Anthony, all of a sudden I'll see like 7 mentions in my thing. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Somebody chirped Anthony from like a week ago or a month ago. And it's like,
I've got a dissertation.
I think of you.
I've got a dissertation going on.
It's fantastic.
All right. I think we got one question answered, but it was an important question.
It was, though.
Yeah, the
ton of other questions.
I think it's still intriguing to talk about.
The sports one pack. Maybe we'll use some of these for tomorrow. I asked for mic drops earlier in the show about the identity of the Cardinals. I was very long-winded with my explanation of how would you build the identity. I wasn't clear, but we got mic drops anyways because you're fantastic and you saw through my lack of comprehension on that. So we'll get to your mic drops next on 101 ESPN.
Jamie Rivers, Anthony Stalter, and our guy Stewie is on the line from Stewart's American Mortgage Corporation. Stewie, we're always talking about things that you know. We always tell our listeners to give you a call no matter what. One thing that you're always up to speed on is the Federal Reserve. Can you tell us about that right now?
And Jamie, tomorrow the Federal Reserve is going to come out. They're going to announce whether they're going to raise interest rates, lower interest rates, to keep them the same. My prediction is they're going to keep it the same. The CPI, the inflation report, came out pretty good. I think there's very little incentive for the Federal Reserve to go out and raise those rates. So we're basically in a position of things starting to decline. Why is that important to you? If you bought a house in the last 12 months, Your rate is into the mid to upper sevens. You ought to refinance right now with the bagel loan, no closing costs. We have a customer right now standing by for tomorrow's announcement. They were in the upper sevens. They're paying PMI. We got it approved in the system to drop the PMI. They didn't have to pay any money towards it, and their rate should be going down, saving them $270 a month for nothing. If you're worried that interest rates are going to get lower in the future, no problem. You can go ahead and refinance in the future again with the bagel loan. No closing costs. That's the key. So keep an eye out for tomorrow's announcements. Give us a call, and we can save you money right away.
And that number is 314-324-4440. Again, that number,
314-324-4440.
But you do have to call or text. Stewie doesn't care. You can text him if you want. Tell him that you heard the information that Stewie was given at 101 ESPN, or tell him Jamie and Anthony told you to call. Stewie's going to take care of you. Make sure that you're set up great right now and in the future. Trust us on this. He will take care of you. And if you missed that phone number, Jamie, what can you do?
You can always Google the bagel loan.
Thanks, Stewie.
Have a good night, guys.
NMLS number 226715.
ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Jakub Vrana was placed on waivers today ahead of the Blues game tonight against the Detroit Red Wings. Blues-Red Wings, 5:30 pregame, 6:30 puck drop. You can catch all the action right here on 101 ESPN. We will talk with Joe Vitale here shortly, so stay tuned for that. But once again, Blues-Red Wings, 5:30 pregame, 6:30 puck drop. Last night, the Tennessee Titans defeated the Miami Dolphins 28-27 on Monday Night Football. 2 Monday Night Football games as the New York Football Giants also defeated the Green Bay Packers 24-22. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Londoff. Find new roads and shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
I'm going to have to agree with Stoltz on this one. I think when you look at the postseason, everybody plays good defense. Everybody's got good pitching. And I think in a perfect world, you don't need to go out and hit 3 home runs in a playoff game to win. It would be nice, but you don't need to do that. What you need to do is prevent the other team from hitting 3 home runs in a game and making 2 or 3 errors in a game. So I'm going to agree with Stoltz. I think elite run prevention would probably be the way I would go.
One of the smartest mic drops we've ever heard on these airwaves. Michael.
Neighbor Dave?
Michael nailed it. No, it's not Neighbor
Is that Michael
Dave.
Stalter? Check the records.
No, there's no Michael Stalter. I mean, maybe there is,
It
but
won't be like that. You don't know.
yeah, I don't know.
You don't know.
But I know that Michael is dropping knowledge on everybody, and I appreciate that absolutely. Run prevention. You know, at this point, he goes, you got to prevent.
How boring.
You got to prevent the other team from hitting 3 home runs.
We'll just watch a turtle race.
You know who didn't do that, Jamie? I'm going to power through here. You know who didn't do that? Clayton Kershaw. Clayton Kershaw didn't prevent the Diamondbacks from hitting, I think, 12 home runs in the first inning against him. And
yeah, but how
the
tired were
Dodgers
they after that?
were sunk.
See what happened?
Yeah, they went on to win the series and then beat the Phillies.
Showed them.
Yeah. What? Who? Run prevention. That would be my identity for the Cardinals.
Your baseball is so boring. Who the hell wants run prevention?
I do.
I don't.
You know, Cardinals.
I think it sucks.
Cardinals fans that
they don't want that.
Relish.
They're tired of
in what this club used to be. They want it.
No, they don't. They want small ball. They want to generate and manufacture runs all over the place. Yeah. Ask anybody.
Well, you could play a little small ball.
Whitey yours up. Whitey ball.
While you're doing the run prevention thing, you could play a little small ball.
Just bunt that guy over,
Smooth
Anthony.
Runner over.
Fundamentals.
Steal second, bunt him to third, get him home, baby.
You win 1-0. What's one of the... If we're talking in all seriousness, Jamie.
Why do I have to be serious?
In all seriousness, what is one game that everybody loves here in St. Louis? Sure, the David Freese game. What was first, though?
Yeah, the Chris Carpenter 1-0 victory.
Damn right it was, Marsh.
I hated that game.
No, you didn't. You loved it. You're at the edge of your seat. You're at the edge of your seat.
It's terrible. It's
Carp goes, as long as you get me 1 run, we're going to be fine. And guess what?
He was an ace.
Damn right he was. Elite run prevention.
I do like when my teams win. When my favorite teams, when they win like 1-0, 2-0, hell, 3-0.
It's gripping.
If they're winning 3-0, I'm all about it.
Yeah. Unless it's the lowest scoring indoor game in NFL history. All right, that was Michael. Let's hear from Bott.
Take a weird turn.
I would like to see the Cardinals go back to speed, defense, situational hitting, and good, sound pitching.
Yes.
I know there's a lot of smack talked against pitch to contact, but that's what Dave Duncan did for 16 years when he was here. Chris Carpenter threw a game at Busch Stadium in just over an hour. It was pitch to contact. He didn't even have 100 pitches for a complete game. Speed and defense goes back a long way in Cardinal lore. Would love to see it again.
Well said, bud.
An hour?
I'm not even going to fact check him. Bud sounds like he knows what he's talking about.
Sounds like the offense was terrible, too.
Hey, you know what? Sometimes you get shut down by the other team. Come on, Marsh. Get on board. We're all getting on board.
Are we?
Yes.
Don't you
elite run prevention.
Of course.
And then you get a couple of donkeys in your lineup. They can hit a home. They can run into one. You win most games 1-0, 2-0, 3-1. The way baseball's supposed to be played.
Oh God, you're boring,
Anthony. I just want them to be able to runner on second and third with like no outs. Just get a run in. That's all I care about right now.
That's what we're talking about.
That's just what I want to see.
That's what we're talking about, Marsh. We're
just
talking about
get a run in
fundamentals.
Are we?
Yep.
That doesn't sound like it.
You know, some of us, Jamie, might call it boring, but
it's boring.
Jamie just doesn't appreciate good baseball.
That's not true.
And Bud brought up a great point.
If
it
our
was
pitchers
good enough for Dave Duncan, it's good enough for me.
Go out and shove, and we win 7-0. What's wrong with that?
Well, you can.
You want to win 1-0. That's boring.
No, I just want.
You literally said that.
I just want that goose. I want that goose egg. That's what I want.
Yeah,
the number that I care more about.
Why can't you have fun?
I don't care about the 7. I care about the goose egg.
I see underlying issues, though, with the offense.
Yeah.
You would, Marsh.
And when you need it, it won't be there, Marshy.
Yep, exactly.
You're right.
You know what, guys?
It's called trends.
I'm learning a lot about you guys.
Series? Remember that one?
Yes. They used all their runs in Game 5.
All that run, and then nothing. Anthony, how about your run prevention there? You had it all right. It was your own team, though.
You know who had elite run prevention in that series? The Nationals.
I know, but...
The Nationals, who went on to win a World Series.
You can't switch your narrative now. Stop.
Oh, I'm sticking right with that narrative. I'm sticking it right in you.
No.
Yeah.
No, you're not, Anthony.
Sticking that narrative right on your face.
Well, all they had to do was throw the baseball.
Rather you didn't.
From the mound to home plate.
That's right.
That's all they had to do.
They didn't have to do anything too special. Run prevention.
Hey, guys.
It was just
pitch and catch.
Pitch and catch, yeah. Let's have a catch is what Max Scherzer said.
Oh, hey, look, that guy swung and missed.
Hey, you know what? I presented you guys with elite run prevention. Winning by shutting down the opposition. And all you guys have looked at is the offense and your concerns about the offense. I presented to you guys a winning formula.
No, your
but
opinion.
You can't see that.
You presented us your opinion.
You can't see. Look, I'm not blaming you guys.
Your opinion isn't a winning solution.
I look at the bottle or the glass.
Oh,
and it's half,
see,
it's half full.
This guy's already looking at the bottle. It's not even 5:30 yet.
Glass is optional. Give me the bottle.
An hour.
Hey, is this bottle half full or half empty? Let's start it full, Anthony.
I've seen Anthony finish a bottle just over an hour.
Oh, yeah. Then he gets the Twitter fingers going.
Drink to contact.
Drink to contact. Oh, that's right. Welcome, Lincoln.
That's right.
Probably.
Hey, just got to get in, baby.
You never
just
know.
Get in. Cardinals might be onto something, boys. Joey Vitale next on 101 ESPN.
Jamie Rivers, Anthony Stalter here. We're going to talk to you about mentality. Anthony, when we're talking about mentality, the text line started going here yesterday. One texter said, I have a hard time believing that Rivers was low on testosterone. You know what my answer was? I had a hard time believing it too till I found out I was. That's the truth. Anthony and I are proud to be a part of mentality, and mentality has changed so much for me. 48 years old, not 28 years old anymore. Things change. They always do. And for me, I was low on testosterone, other vitamins, and Mentality helped me with that. They took the blood sample, went through all of it, and figured out exactly what I needed to be successful, to feel like I was 28 again. And now that's the way I feel. And now they've added other things to my program. I feel fantastic. But it's true. We're really on this program, and we really were low in testosterone.
Well, I like the text, though, because it goes to show you, Jamie, you didn't think so, right? You're like, I'm not low on testosterone. I know it's not it.
Tarzan.
I have no motivation to get to the gym. I'm lacking in certain areas. Like, you're running around constantly, you got various businesses, you got multiple jobs, you're worn out. It must be that. It must be this. It must be that. No, why don't you go to Mentality, get it checked out, because if you are low on T or you are low on certain vitamins like Jamie and I were, they get you in a program to help. That's the bottom line, right? That's it. That's as straight as we could be. Just if you go down to Mentality, either location, South County or Chesterfield, talk to them, tell them Jamie and Anthony, you heard the program, they'll tell you, hey, this is what we're going to do, and in a mere weeks, month, you put in the work, all of a sudden you're running to the gym. And you're eating right, and you're taking care of yourself. That's what it's about, Jamie.
Yeah, and all you have to do to check out Mentality and to get more information is visit them online at lowtusa.com. That's our friends at Mentality, lowtusa.com.
Joey Vitale views things a little differently. Just imagine how he looks at hockey. Whoa! This is The View from Vitale, brought to you by Scott Lee Heating Company, a proud Mitsubishi Electric Elite contractor.
It's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN with Jamie Rivers and Anthony Stalter. Tonight, 5:30, pregame Blues and Red Wings. You'll hear from Alex Ferrario. You'll hear from Chris Kerber. And our next guest via the 101 ESPN Celebrity Line, Joe Vitale. What's up, Joe?
What's up, boys? Doing well.
So we won't see our guy David Perron, I guess, huh? That's not great. A little suspension for Perron here.
Yeah, I was going to say, not good for David Perron. We were expecting to hopefully see him back here in St. Louis again. He's been back before, obviously, but it's always good to see David Perron again. You know, the league came down pretty hard on him, and 6-game suspension. And, after looking at that hit again, a pretty egregious cross check right to the head, and it's unfortunate for David because he's going to miss some games here. But at the same time, to be fair, he definitely went over the line, but at the same time, you have to always appreciate, David Perron's passion, not only for the game, but sticking up for his teammates. He saw his captain down, and he went after a guy. And very old school of him, but as they say, you got to pay the piper.
Joey, I know you're going to find this hard to believe, but I didn't mind it. I really didn't. It was a little over the top for today's standard. But what I liked about what David Perron did, unfortunately, he got the wrong guy. He cross-checked the wrong guy in the side of the head, but what I liked about it is it was an uncharacteristic play by a guy for his captain, and guys that are pulling together, sticking up for each other. I think that's lacking sometimes in the NHL now, is where teams have guys that aren't supposed to do that job stepping up to defend their teammates. This crossed the line a little bit. Was it 6 games worthy? I don't think so, but overall, I thought the thought was okay.
I'm with you, Jamie, and I think it's the old blood in probably both of us and maybe a part of that too is as you watch this Blues team as of late, you kind of maybe wish there was a little bit more, maybe not crossing the line like David did, but something like what Braden Shed did the other day. I think it's just my personality. I mean, this is way off the radar. It really doesn't pertain to anyone personally, but my son's had a hockey tournament in Chicago. Jamal Mayers, Matt Lashoff, they're his coaches, and I got a call after the game. Jamie, you were doing the game in Columbus. I was doing the studio here in town, and I got a call from Jamal and Matt, and they said, hey, your son may get suspended. He left the bench to start a line brawl. And I'm just like, what the
Wow. Chip off the old block, baby.
Exactly. And apparently a kid went after our goalie at the final buzzer, and he jumped the bench, Eric Goddard style, and went after a kid, maybe faced a 3-game suspension. My son called me crying, and I'm like, what's the matter? He's like, you upset? I go, upset? I'm so proud of you, man. I go, man, sticking up for your teammate, you may take a suspension. Oh, well, like what you told your team in that moment was, hey, no one's going to mess around with you guys. And that team right now, you may have to face that suspension, but at the end of the day, they know if you got to find themselves in an alley in trouble, they're going to call Harper Vitale. It's the same thing with this. And I use that as an example simply because, what David did, I mean, that can galvanize a group. What Braden Shen did fighting, Reese Johnson the other day, that's the type of stuff that can galvanize a group and can really turn a season around. And not saying this was the reason the season got turned around, but never forget when Robert Bortuzzo and Zach Sanford had a scrap there out at the Mills. I think everyone was just so fed up, so fired up. And there was just like an intense passion to that practice that led to a fight. And everyone had to, make up and kiss and make up and sing Kumbaya and all this stuff. But at the same time, there was a lot of passion. And I think at times right now for this Blues team especially, I think there just needs to be a little bit more passion, like instilled in this group, somehow pumped into the blood where you have to just be completely it has to be unacceptable to the level of play, the effort of play, the way they're defending, and something's got to turn this thing around.
Yeah, Joey, I couldn't agree more. I said it on the broadcast the other day. I love that Braden Shen stepped up. However, I'd like to see it be somebody different from time to time as well, because I feel like that is the part that galvanizes the group is when I've always said when somebody does something that they don't usually do, that usually gets noticed more by teammates.
Yeah, I think I heard you on the post game there, Jamie. I think you laid it out really well, and I remember that as a player. I think you said something along the lines of, at the end of that intermission, if you had to look your captain in the eye, I mean that's a bad feeling where you knew your captain had to go to work and be the one to change the momentum. When you have all these other guys on the bench that are completely capable, and not only capable but willing. I mean, you don't have to be a fighter, You remember the days where sometimes the most transitional fights or the fights that have really shifted momentum, they're the ones when Vladimir Tarasenko jumped the guy for hitting Jaden Schwartz. Heck, I remember when Sidney Crosby fought Matt Niskanen in Dallas because someone got cheap shotted. Like, you don't have to be a fighter. You don't even have to win the fight. I mean,
no.
Fights are so quick these days. They're 10, they're 12 seconds. Go in there.
There's Pfizer's.
Just start throwing, and you know what? Eventually, someone's going to fall down, and your teammates are going to love you for it.
Joe Vitale is joining us right now on the Fast Line on 101 at ESPN. Joe, what did you think of the ending for Jakub Vrana, who was placed on waivers? And conversely, what do you think of the lineup changes, specifically with Pavel Buchnevich going to center again?
Number one, Jakub Vrana, great kid. I wish him well. Off the ice, he's a great personality, but let's face it, it's a business, and he wasn't living up to the standard that Craig Berube had for him. I think he came in from Detroit last year. He had a lot of success. He was scoring goals. They had very high expectations for him this year, and he was underwhelming in a lot of different ways, to the point where Craig Berube had to, healthy scratch him. He did it multiple times. The message was clear. We need you to work harder. We need you to be the forechecker. You can't be the one high slot in the weeds waiting for the pass. Sometimes you have to be the aggressor. You have to be the pit bull. You can't just always be the spider on the outside. And they told him that repetitively over and over, and to the point where he was out watching from the rafters, and the message apparently still didn't get through. I thought he really struggled in that Chicago game. I thought, because of his, little bit lack of effort, I think some goals went into the Blues net, directly because of that lack of effort. And I think Craig Berube and Doug Armstrong simply just had enough. So you wish him well. You hope that he continues to learn in this process. And I wish him all the best as he continues to move on. And I think that's the way the Blues feel about it, too. And his replacement now, of course, Pavel Buchnevich, never thought we'd see this, but taking off that Robert Thomas line, looking to spread the wealth across the top six right there, and Buchnevich has played center. He was drafted as a centerman. The New York Rangers brought him in as a center. He ended up transitioning to wing shortly after he got to New York. So I think he thinks like a centerman. He's terrific in the defensive zone, a great 200-foot responsible player, great awareness, great anticipation, everything you need to have, including speed, to be a guy and the driver of a line in the middle of the ice. So it'll be great to see him back in the middle, and hopefully they have some magic here tonight.
Yeah, I agree, Joe. One last question for you, because when I looked at the lineup today, I wasn't like, oh, I don't like this. I was like perplexed and kind of intrigued, because you have a line with the Buchnevich line that doesn't have a true centerman on their line, and then you have the Schenn line that has three centermen on it. Yeah. Like, what are your thoughts of that? When you look at that right away, how are you processing that?
Well, listen, I think with the Hayes and the Schenn specifically, those two have done very well together. I think I like Kevin Hayes on the wing a little bit better, because keep in mind, you can still use him in the dot for faceoffs, because he's been the Blues' best faceoff guy. That's been clear. You can still use him in the faceoff dot, but I think at times Craig Berube hasn't seen enough out of him in the defensive zone. And as far as, like I mentioned, as a centerman, you have to be the driver of the line. You have to have the one with the speed to the middle of the ice, and you're pushing things back. And I think at times he lacks a little bit of that speed. So I do like him back on the wing there a little bit better. Of course, then with Buchnevich, as I mentioned, the responsible 200-foot player. And I think Braden Schenn can use a little bit more veteran help back there. I think that, Braden's been around some young hockey players. He's been given the responsibility to kind of coax the younger group and the younger generation of the Kyrous and the Thomases at times and whoever it be, the Jake Neighbors. So I think that right now you're trying to get your captain going a little bit from a production standpoint. So you put him around some veteran players, and I believe tonight truly that Craig Berube is really loading up those top three, because we're going to see those three lines run repetitively, especially early on. I think he's going to try to get into a rhythm of running three. We're subbing in that fourth line every now and then, of course, with Hugh McGinn, who I thought was played really well over the weekend. But I think that, there lacks a little bit of rhythm right now offensively. And I think that coaches, a lot of times what they do, instead of running four right off the hop, you run three for the first, 5, 6, 7 minutes, get them in the rhythm of the game, and then you start moving in your fourth line. So wouldn't shock me one bit, and I think that's why they kind of loaded up on that Schenn line.
Joe, good stuff, man. We're looking forward to listening to you tonight on the broadcast alongside Chris Kerber on the Blues Radio Network 101 to ESPN. Have a great call. We'll talk to you again next week.
Sounds good, boys. You guys have a great week as well.
Thanks, Joe. That's Joe Vitale here on 101 at ESPN. We have what's trending next in the Fast Lane.
If you're thinking of selling your home, or you're in the process of selling your home right now, and maybe you have questions, maybe your home isn't selling the way you thought it was going to, maybe you're not sure if it's priced the right way, maybe you're not sure if holiday time is the time to have your house listed, let me help you. Let me make it real easy for you. Call the best in the business, and that's Gloria Lou with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Look, I trust Gloria Lou with all the sales of my homes, and when Gloria Liu is involved, I can tell you this. She brings an exclusive database with thousands of ready buyers, and that means it's going to create a lot more traffic to your listing, higher demand for your property, and ultimately more money for you. One of the options that Gloria Liu has that I absolutely love, and who wouldn't, it's called guaranteed sales. And what that is Gloria sits down with the seller of the home, figures out the sales price, and then she sells the home for that exact price, or she buys it herself, and she guarantees all that in handwriting. So please pick up the phone, call Gloria Liu, tell her Jamie Rivers sent you. That number is 314-325-6888. Again, that's 314-325-6888, or you can visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Remember, conditions do apply. Gloria and the seller must agree on the sales price as well as the possession date.
What's trending in the world of sports? The Fast Lane has you covered. What's trending now?
Brought to you by Goodwill. Donate to Goodwill to win a magical Polar Express staycation.
Welcome back to the Fast Lane here on 101 ESPN. Anthony Stalter, Jamie Rivers, I'm Andrew Marsh. And it is time for What's Trending. Jamie, you sent this to me on Twitter, and I found this to be interesting. Mikko Rantanen says his three-point performance was a response to criticism from Arturi Lekkonen's dad, Ismo Lekkonen, who is a hockey analyst in Finland. Ismo reported that Mikko is not training in the summer like he used to, and this was from Bar Down. And this is what Mikko Rantanen had to say about his teammate's father.
It was good, and there's actually one thing where I got a lot of extra energy. One of our Finnish NHL players' dad was talking about me in the media that I didn't train last summer like I used to do, and he was just making things up. So I think that was for him. If you talk, it's gonna come back at you. So.
How awkward is that situation?
Oof. So to describe this properly for some of our listeners who may not understand, this would be like Braden Shen saying that Brandon Saad's dad said something on TV about him talking blank about him. What an awkward locker room right now. First of all, for Arturi Lekkinen, you're getting on the phone and you're calling your dad and you're like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? Like, I'm an NHL player, but that's Mikko Rantanen.
Right.
I'm not even worried about him beating me up, but the team's going to be like, oh, there's a problem here. One has to go. It's not Rantanen.
Right.
The
No
top
kidding.
scorer from last year. He might even be leading the team in scoring this year.
Dad, what are you doing?
Like, as a father, what are you thinking?
Yeah, to put your son in that spot that's awful.
And for his father to think that he's on Finnish TV, like, nobody will hear about this. It's called the internet, man.
Right.
And people love watching things. Like, there's a reason Jerry Springer was so popular for a while. People love watching the chaos.
No doubt.
Jerry. So when you have a situation like this, like, how awkward. If I'm the team, or if I'm Lekkinen, like, I say, hey, guys, like, the next day, let's have a talk. Like, the team here. My dad was wrong. He doesn't speak for me.
Yeah.
I had a talk with my dad, and we're done here.
Yeah.
Like, I apologize on his behalf. You got to kind of eat crow a little bit there. Sure. And then, hopefully you bro it out and everybody's fine after that. But awkward, man. Totally awkward.
Reminds me of the Baker Mayfield, Odell Beckham Jr. situation in Cleveland.
Yeah, where Odell's dad was sharing video of when his son was wide open and Baker didn't throw to him.
That's terrible.
Awkward. Patrick Mahomes was on The Drive on 610 Sports Radio in Kansas City. He was asked about how he handled the call on Kadarius Toney, and this is what Patrick Mahomes had to say.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you don't want to react that way. I care, man. I love it. I love this game. I love my teammates, and I want to go out there and put everything on the line to win. But obviously can't do that. I mean, can't be that way towards officials or really anybody in life. So probably regret acting like that. But more than anything, I mean, I regretted the way I acted towards Josh after the game because he had nothing to do with it. And so I was still hot and emotional. But you can't do that, man. It's not a great example for kids watching the game. So that I was more upset about that than I was about me on the sideline.
I'm really interested to hear what Jamie has to say here. He's already got a look on his face. Two quick comments from me. One, Patrick Mahomes, it'd be great if every athlete's a great role model. Don't let Patrick Mahomes raise your kids. Don't let any athlete raise your kids. You raise your kids. So him talking about, it could be kids watching and stuff like that, that's nice of him to say. Don't be that parent that's like, my kid was watching. Okay, explain to your kid why that wasn't right. And it doesn't have to be the Mahomes situation. It could be anything.
Right.
Raise your own kids. That's number one. So nice that he said it. I'm pushing that aside. Raise your own kids. Second, I like that he brought up the Josh Allen situation. That was awkward. That was awkward on the field where it's like, can you believe that? When Josh Allen just won. I like that he mentioned that, and he said he regretted doing that.
Okay, so what I don't like about it is that he didn't say he regretted the Josh Allen thing in particular. He said he regretted because kids could see it. That's what I got out of it. Maybe you can pull the audio back, Marshy. If I'm wrong,
I actually said I probably will regret it. He actually didn't say that.
And he said, because, kids are watching. And no, you don't regret things because kids are watching. You regret things because you realize where you screwed up. Mm-hmm. Because you are the leader of the team, you realize that it wasn't right. Because you're wearing the logo on your helmet, it wasn't right. Like, not because kids are watching, because there's so much crap that happens in a game where if I went back to my career and said, well, I shouldn't have done that because the kids are watching. Well, the kids shouldn't be watching me play hockey. There's a lot of crap that happened that I hope the kids weren't watching.
Yeah,
I didn't care about that.
Hope they didn't see me two-hand that guy.
Yeah, or rooster beak a guy or, all that stuff. So you can't, it's nice to have the awareness that, hey, I'm a role model.
Yeah.
But be a role model, like, by having good sportsmanship and being a role model off the field and things like that.
Sure.
In that moment, like, realize that you're a leader of the football club and your teammates are looking for you at that point for leadership. Mm-hmm. Do we have it, Marshy? Sorry, I had you pull it up. I saw you whittling away, so I didn't want to leave it hanging.
Probably regret acting like that. But more than anything, I mean, I regretted the way I acted towards Josh after the game because he had nothing to do with it. And so I was still hot and emotional. But you can't do that, man. It's not a great example for kids watching the game. So that I was more upset about that than I was about me on the sideline.
He ducks in and out of doing it the right way.
I mean,
I'm probably regretting it.
And maybe from a sportsmanship standpoint.
Yeah, like I said yesterday, that was a pretty tame. For him, he reacted, emotionally. But for me, just kind of breaking it down, playing armchair psychologist, I don't think that he was frustrated. He was truly frustrated with the fact that Tony was offsides. I think he's truly frustrated, subconsciously, potentially, that his team is not where it needs to be. And I think everything just boiled for him.
I agree.
And he picked that situation to go off on. Patrick Mahomes knows this. He was offsides. Stop with the NFL stuff. Like, I think he's frustrated. I think he should be frustrated, quite frankly.
Well, he did address that on the drive on 610 Sports Radio in KC, and he was heated on the sideline. He was asked about that, and this is what Patrick Mahomes had to say.
I didn't have a great explanation for it. Obviously, I'm not seeing the view from the sideline or anything like that. And I didn't even really know. I heard the call, but from where I was, you couldn't even tell what really happened. And I was trying to get an explanation and didn't really get one. So obviously, I've seen it now. And if he didn't check and they weren't good, I guess it is a foul. It's just something that you rarely see called in the NFL, and so. But it was a foul, so it's part of playing the game, man. You just learn from it, and part of being a person, man. You learn from your mistakes and try to be better the next time.
You rarely see it because the wide receiver usually checks
and really checks, not just looks over real quick and then lines up. I'm good, okay, and it doesn't get verification.
So I saw something. Dan Orlovsky had a little breakdown of what Kadarius Toney was doing all game long, and he was doing those exact same things. He was lined up on the line of scrimmage in the neutral zone, and multiple plays throughout that game, they never called that penalty, and he was never really checking with the referee. So in that moment, he was just doing exactly what he was doing the entire game.
Well, I'll say it this way then. He was fortunate that they didn't flag him more.
Yeah.
I'll say this. What's the coaching staff doing?
That's a great question.
Every offensive coordinator not only have video, they have snapshots of the line of scrimmage every single time to find out who's cheating on the defensive side, how they're lining up, what formation they had when the blitz came from here. You can see it plain as day with the snapshot of his foot in the wrong spot.
Good call.
I'm just saying, man.
Good call, man.
From a coach's standpoint, I would have noticed, but what the hell are you doing here, bro?
Yeah. Not great.
Anthony, we get the yearly question here said from the 618, Jamie, what is a rooster beak?
Go ahead.
So I'll explain it quickly. It's for me, being a left-handed shot, holding my hockey stick, my right hand would be at the top of the stick. My left hand would be, the bottom hand. And so usually when you go into a scrum in front of the net where everybody's like shoving each other in the chest or near the face, you would let go of your bottom hand so that it's just the top hand with the top of your stick in your hand and, you're shoving. Well, the rooster beak is where you let go of your top hand, and then the blade makes its way to be parallel with people's faces, and then you just shove them with both hands, but the tip of the stick hits them in the face like a rooster beak, and then they're cut wide open. They don't really know what's going on. The referees are like, what the hell just happened? And you just skate away and be like, I don't know.
The guy gets nosebleeds.
I think there's a bird in here.
Yeah.
So that's a rooster beak. Kids, don't do that at home.
No,
want to make sure I'm setting the right example.
Yeah, kids could be listening. All right, it's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. We're off a little early tonight because we got Blues hockey pregame starting at 5:30. So we'll wrap things up. Tell you what you missed. Criticisms, compliments next.
Gentlemen, listen up and listen closely. Are you somebody that is maybe getting to game time, but you're not quite ready, if you know what I'm saying? No big deal. You're using ED meds. Who cares? The Medicine Shop in St. Charles is your destination for cheap ED meds. And the reason I'm saying to the Medicine Shop is because you're probably paying too much right now elsewhere. The little blue pill, the gummy thing, they're probably charging you way too much. The Medicine Shop in St. Charles has a generic called sildenafil for less than $2 a pill. Gentlemen, less than $2 a pill. Prescription is required. And the Medicine Shop also has the free discreet shipping and delivery to your home or your workplace of any medicines. Let's say you got a crazy schedule, you got a busy week, maybe you're traveling, whatever it is. You maybe can't get to the pharmacy gets to you and brings that to your home. But if you do need to get to the pharmacy, the group over there at the Medicine Shop is fantastic. It's not a chain, so you get that quality service that you deserve, that personal care, the attention, all that stuff. They are phenomenal. So please walk in, tell them that Jamie Rivers sent you in. If you can't get there in person, though, at least get there online. Visit them at stcharles.pharmacy. That's stcharles.pharmacy. Happy holidays from Johnny Londoff Chevrolet. Johnny Londoff right now is going to make your holiday shine bright with their Chevy Red Tag Bonus Cash. Check out some of these savings. If you like Silverados, well, Londoff Chevrolet has you covered. They've got several available, but one in particular is the 2023 Silverado LTZ. The suggested retail price is $71,095. Red tag price, $58,745. You save $12,350. Incredible savings over there. And Johnny Londoff Chevrolet also has huge inventory of the #1 selling small SUV in the U.S., the all-new 2024 Chevy Trax. It's a generously sized interior, impressive feature content, and good looks at a super affordable price tag. Please get over to either location, whether it's the original one in Florissant, Missouri, or if it's the brand new Londoff Autoplex located in St. Peters. Get over there. Tell them Jamie Rivers sent you in. Enjoy all the inventory that they've got. Enjoy all the great savings, and enjoy the customer service over at Londoff Chevrolet. If you can't get there in person, get there online. Visit them at londoff.com or londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
Johnny Londoff Chevrolet.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Blues are back in action tonight, taking on the Detroit Red Wings. We'll have an early pregame for you starting in about 10 minutes, 5:30. 5:30 pregame, 6:30 puck drop. You can catch that right here on 101 ESPN. We talked with Joe Vitale ahead of tonight's game. If you missed that interview, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com or check out the free 101 mobile app. You can find all of our interviews and the full show there, and it's all brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. I'm Andrew Marsh, and this Sports Center Update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, independent American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning dealer.
If you missed anything from today's show, you can always download the podcast available at 101ESPN.com, your 101 ESPN mobile app, all brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. Talked to you about the Jakub Vrana waiver, what the Blues lineup now looks like. Talked a little baseball today. Talked about the Cardinals' identity, what you want it to look like moving forward, knowing that they're not going to be able to spend like the top of the league can. Talked a fair amount of football, especially after last night's Monday Night Football games. And who knows what else, right? It's good stuff. Hey, by the way, speaking of football, it's come to my attention, mainly because Jamie brought it to my attention, that Moon from 105.7 The Point and the Rizzuto Show keeps saying that we only have 7 wins in the Pick'em Challenge. We absolutely have 8. Count them.
They won't count them. They're lazy. That's why they just say things, and then they make us do the work, and then they call us
cheaters.
Whatever.
We won week 1, 2, and 3. You won week 4 and 5. We won 6 and 7. That would give us 5. We tied in week 8. We won 9, 10, and 11. And then we tied in week 14. Our wins: week 1, week 2, week 3, week 6, week 7, week 9, week 10, week 11. That's 8. They won week 4, 5, and 13. That would be 3. We tied week 8 and 12 and 14. I don't know what to tell you.
The numbers don't lie, Anthony. Only the Rizzuto Show lies.
There you go. It's just it's getting embarrassing for Moon specifically.
Yeah, I don't know why he keeps going back to that. It's like dying on that hill.
And the only reason we keep bringing it up is because the passionate fan base, the weirdos at the Rizzuto Show, keep poking us.
Who we love.
Hey, guys.
We love them, too.
We love you guys. Anybody can go and look this information up, by the way. But you got to put in the effort. You got to have the want to, Jamie. Moon doesn't have the effort or the want to. I don't know what to say.
No, you're right.
All right, what do we got for criticisms and compliments?
All right, yeah, we were just talking. Probably should turn my mic.
There we go. Got it.
Yeah, we were just talking about Patrick Mahomes. Got a text from the 314. Will you guys shut up about Patrick Mahomes already? It's been like two days straight. All you can talk about is Patrick Mahomes crying about the officials. How about you get on those crappy ass officials week after week? They suck and everyone knows it. And Patrick's not the only one who's pissed off about it and crying. You guys suck.
For the only time we talked about it today was at 5 o'clock. Go Chiefs.
Yeah, we do also like listener on listener crime. And Anthony, you brought up the Baltimore game, or was it Jamie? Jamie brought up Dodgers or Orioles.
Yes.
Who would you rather watch? And we had a texter saying that they'd rather watch the Orioles. Well, another texter texted in from the 636 saying that nerd who just texted in has never watched a Baltimore game. Dork.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, Jackson Holliday is going to be a great star there. And when Jackson Holliday becomes a full-time Oriole, guess what? I will be watching for sure.
Not if the Dodgers are playing, I guess, Jamie.
But if Shohei Ohtani is on the bump or batting cleanup and Mookie Betts and all that, no. I'm watching the Dodgers, man. The curiosity alone. I want to watch the Dodgers right now just to see.
You make me sick.
I don't care.
Last one here from the 636. My criticism is this shortened show, but excited for some Blues hockey.
Yeah, well said.
Yeah, we need to bounce back here, Blues hockey tonight.
No doubt.
They got a Red Wings team that's depleted. Now's the time, boys.
I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. Blues win 6-3, 6-4, something like that.
What's 7-2?
7-2, 7-4.
No, 7-2, I take that.
Okay.
I don't want
8-4.
4 goals. I don't want 4.
Okay.
I want under 3 goals against, Anthony. You want your damn run prevention. I want goal prevention, okay?
No, now you do. Now you want it.
Yeah, but I still said excited to get 6 or 7 goals.
Jeez.
In 12 fights.
12 fights. Blues Red Wings pregame starting in less than 5 minutes. We're done here today. We'll see you tomorrow at 2 o'clock. For Andrew Marsh, Jamie Rivers, I'm Anthony Stalter. This has been the Fast Lane.